talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin, and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. Here we go now. I'm talking about Mr. Gulley, and you don't know where he's been. Oh no, he's been right in your alley. Well, I'm Mr. Gulley, yes I am. So what we're talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin, and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. One, two, three, four. They call me Mr. Gulley. I've got something for your ear. Now it might sound kind of funny, but I'll make it very clear. So what we talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin, and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. Here we go now. I'm talking about Mr. Gulley, and you don't know where he's been. Oh no, he's been right in your alley. Well, I'm Mr. Gulley, yes I am. So what we're talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin, and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way.
Hey everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What is shaking on your Friday night? Ready for another one of our lightly regarded Friday night shows. Boy, I can't tell you how much I am. Tonight, let me tell you about the Gulf of Tonkin incident. Yes, a show especially designed for those of you who know just how much I hate conspiracy theories. This is a real one. This actually happened. can be happy about that. Hey, before we get going here, please like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all those absolutely free things, don't cost you a penny, that you can do that help us with the algorithm, the almighty, all-powerful, all-knowing algorithm. You know what the other thing is? That's not a conspiracy. It really does exist. The other thing is we do have super chats and memberships. We love it when you take advantage of those. It helps us pay the bills around here. And then please turn on your gifted memberships. It tells how in the ticker right there at the bottom of the screen. And some generous philanthropic person might just gift you a membership, which allows you to unlock that members-only content that's so exclusive and so desired. What would you do without it? You know, that you really want. Might also point out before we get going here, the Dallas-Fort Worth area is under a severe severe thunderstorm warning? Yeah, severe thunderstorm warning right this minute. We seem to be cool right now, but that doesn't mean that at some point during the show, because I haven't done, I've been listening in to Chief Meteorologist Dan Brunoff from the KRLD Weather Center, and we could get knocked off the air, which wouldn't that be great? Anyway, we do have a couple of comments. Not many, because it's Friday. There's really no reason for you to even do these shows on Friday, but I'm doing one. Julian Caesar says, I'll be here in time for kickoff. Thank you, Julian. Thank you. And then Ken says, I'm ready to report any anti-Semitism. Just saying. Well, I appreciate that, Ken. We need somebody. I don't allow that here. I do not allow that. I don't really allow any sort of bad language or slurs or any of that stuff. And that's why my show is not popular. Anyway. If I was to light my nose hairs on fire right now, I'd have 10,000 viewers in just a matter of minutes. I hope everyone else has got a great weekend planned here. And things are going well. And this is like the first show we've done in 2 weeks that Ruta Lee is not involved in some form or fashion. I take full responsibility for that. Let's see. Ken, your comments don't show up unless I switch from top chat to live chat. Just saying. Oh, I'm not in favor of that. I think Ken's comments should show up all the time. Ken, I'm in your corner, man. I'm behind you. Oh, behind me actually is an old-timey map of the nonsense that was the Gulf of Tonkin incident. No, you're not shadow banned. For real. No, it just does weird things. And people don't notice top chat versus live chat. Because normally on a show that gets so few chats that is mine, then it's just all the chats, all of it's there. But yeah, you do have to I always recommend switching it over to live chat. I always do. So many of you are wondering, what is the Gulf of Tonkin incident? Well, get this. Way back then in 1964, all right, the United States, we were involved in Vietnam. And we were actually over there with advisors when it was still called French Indochina. We were sort of, we're just, kind of. But it was this confrontation. Now, I might mention that the United States has never liked it when you attack our naval vessels. World War I, sinking of the Lusitania, we're going to war. World War II, Pearl Harbor, we're going to war. Don't attack our floating stuff. Not even if it's a pool noodle or something. We don't like that. Well, way back in August of 1964, the United States had some ships that were carrying out these covert operations close to North Vietnamese waters. And some North Vietnamese forces kind of tried to attack one of our ships on the 2nd of August. And the only damage that our ship took was like one little bullet hole. It was nothing. It was nothing. Oh, let me get a picture here that might be good to show. I'll just show. This is LBJ signing the legendary Gulf of Tonkin Resolution. And I'll tell you what that is in a second. So, 2 days later, a second incident happened between North Vietnamese and U.S. ships in the waters of the Gulf of Tonkin. Now, originally, the United States military said they unprovoked attacked our boats, even though we were doing covert, sort of trying to intercept signals of theirs and stuff. But it never happened. There were no ships even there that fired upon us. And I'll tell you how they made that happen in just a second. Later investigation very clearly showed that second attack never, ever, ever happened. The National Security Agency caused our boats, predominantly the USS Maddox, I'll show you that boat in a second, to receive signals that indicated that there were Vietnamese ships there, and it indicated that we were being fired upon by torpedoes and all sorts of other stuff, and it never happened. It never, ever, 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 and by that I mean ever happened. So, the first thing did happen. Because we fired some warning shots on some Vietnamese boats, and we attacked them with torpedoes and machine gun fire. One U.S. aircraft had been launched from an aircraft carrier, and it was damaged. Was launched from the USS Ticonderoga. 3 North Vietnamese torpedo boats, and look at these fine things. Check those babies. Oh, boy, those are scary, aren't they? Those look like something my uncle takes people up and down the Guadalupe River, makes hot dogs on. But anyway, 4 Vietnamese sailors were killed, 6 more wounded, not one U.S. casualty, and there was a single bullet hole on the Maddox, just one little bullet hole from Japanese machine gun fire. So they continued this sort of covert stuff. It was called a DeSoto operation, part of the DeSoto operations. So they were equipped with like these signals intelligence equipment to intercept, what the Vietnamese were doing. Honestly, that ship looks scary. I don't know, man. It looks to me like that's something the fish and game people would board and make sure you have enough life jackets. But anyway, on the evening of August the 4th, ships opened fire on radar returns that had been preceded by communications intercepts. So the Maddox is just cruising along. Here's the Maddox, by the way. The Maddox is just cruising along, minding its own business. They're singing whaling vessels and sea songs. I'm sure. What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor? They were just having a time. And, they get these radar returns, all right? In other words, they see things on their radar. And they had already gotten these communication intercepts, which meant that an attack was imminent. So the commander of the Maddox task force, a guy named Captain John Herrick, said that ships were being attacked by the North Vietnamese boats when, in fact, there were no North Vietnamese boats in the area. None. Zip. Zero. Zilch. So after the attack, Captain Herrick reported doubts. He was like, I don't think that what we thought was an attack was an attack. But the Johnson administration, President Johnson's administration, relied on all of this NSA communication intercepts to conclude that the attack was in fact real. All right. Now, while people from the get-go, from the jump in 1964 expressed severe doubts that this attack even occurred. It wasn't until years later that it was proven to have never, ever happened. In 2003, former U.S. Secretary of Defense Robert S. McNamara admitted that there was no attack. And in 1995, he met with former North Vietnamese Army generals to ask what happened, and they said absolutely nothing. And it was totally imaginary. In 2005, also, an internal National Security Agency historical study was declassified, and it showed very clearly that the first thing had happened, but that the second thing was based on, some would say bad, some would say false, naval intelligence and misinterpretations of North Vietnamese communications. The official U.S. government claim is that it was based mostly on erroneously interpreted communication intercepts. Now, why would they do this? Well, there were people within the Johnson administration that wanted to severely upscale the United States involvement in Vietnam. And this was the excuse that they used for it, okay? And I'll tell you about all of that. Because right after that, the U.S. Congress passed the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, which granted President Johnson the authority to assist any Southeast Asian country whose government was considered to be jeopardized by communist aggression. And that was his legal justification for deploying U.S. troops to South Vietnam and the commencement of open engagements against North Vietnam. So this is the excuse that they used to ramp up what was happening in Vietnam. And it never, ever happened. Didn't even happen. JFK, as a matter of fact, shortly before his assassination, was considering removing the quote-unquote advisors that we had in Vietnam altogether. He was going to pull out of that. And this Gulf of Tonkin resolution and everything else that occurred with the Gulf of Tonkin incident occurred in the very first year of the Johnson administration. Okay? So after his assassination, Johnson ordered more U.S. forces to support the Saigon government, and that is what started the problems that we have. And that also started this very covert system of finding out what was going on in North Vietnam, known as Operation Plan 34 Alpha, which was in conjunction with these DeSoto operations. And those started under the CIA, actually, in 1961. In 1964, the program was transferred, though, to the Defense Department, and that's when things got... Because, the Defense Department back there was just... They really were looking for a reason to use their toys, You know what I'm saying? So they had all these fast patrol boats and everything else that had been purchased from Norway and sent to South Vietnam. So they, the boats were crewed by South Vietnamese naval personnel, but it had to be approved from Admiral U.S. Grant Sharp in Honolulu. So he's like, yeah, go in there and start finding stuff out. Well, that's when the U.S. decided, okay, anything that happens, we're going to go ahead and attack. And there's a lot of information that indicates that they knew if they went ahead and put their boats close to North Vietnamese waters, that there were certain unexperienced and highly hostile North Vietnamese ships that would, in fact, attack them. And so they did the first thing, and they got a little something, and then the second thing, oh boy. Let me show you this thing right here. See, they didn't actually see... Well, let me show you something else. This is a sonar console from back in that day. But here's the first night of the attack. This actually happened. That actually happened. I know it doesn't look... I'll make it bigger for you so you can see. I know it doesn't look like a lot's going on there, but that's an actual attack. And this is actually one of the North Vietnamese ships being blown to smithereens. Because we used to think a lot of smithereens and enjoy blowing things to them. Anyway, this was a sonar console. So they weren't actually looking out across the water or through binoculars or periscope or anything like that and seeing boats. No, they were seeing blips on radars and sonars, and they were getting teletypes of communication intercepts and stuff. But they only thing they received was, okay, there's a blip right here, let's fire upon it. Didn't actually see any ships. So there you go. All right, let me read some of your comments here, because we're going to get into this thing a little bit more. And you're going to see this never happened. Never happened. And as a result, how many tens of thousands of U.S. troops were sent to Vietnam and lost their lives? It was a trumped up reason. Let me see here. Honestly, that ship looks scary. The patrol boat, imagine the entire hull underwater and all those missile tubes loaded. This, I don't see any missiles. It's a patrol boat, brother. I don't think there's any missile tubes. Let's see here. Julian Zeter says that North Vietnamese torpedo boat looks like something JFK would fall asleep on. Let me see here. Oh, yeah, there's a torpedo launcher on the deck, I think. I don't know, man. Don't go by me. It's even worse now with the drones. Yes, the drones. Gilman's here. He says, hey, Gully heads, we do have the most cheerful chat room on the internet, is verified by independent sources. People saying howdy, Gilman. Alternative facts. Julian Caesar says, McNamara. Yeah, McNamara was anything that happened covertly in the United States government for about 40 years can be traced back to Robert McNamara. A lot of people think he's a great hero, and a lot of people don't. It's a very controversial figure. And with the same haircut for that whole time. The Wolf saying hi to people. There you go. Metal Maiden Vicky is here. You know, tomorrow from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern, over there on that Sonic Asylum Radio that they got going at sonicasylumradio.com, you will be able to listen to Metal Maiden Vicky's Metal Euphoria. We were talking about metal last night when we were talking about progressive metal band Tool and Bill Hicks. And where was Metal Maiden Vicky? We needed, she was our go-to. Maybe she'll talk about it this weekend on her show, but you should definitely listen to it. They got a great chat room over there, and it's a wonderful show. And maybe she'll tell us who her special guest is on this week's program. People saying hi, people saying hi, people saying hi. MMV is not a Roman numeral. It's a cool chatter. Hi. Victor says, I was alive but very young at the Gulf of Tonkin. Really don't know anything about it. Victor, hopefully less combative than he was last night on the program. Julian Caesar say, well, Victor, listen up, because Tom will tell you. I really will. People saying hi, people laughing. Smithereens is what we do well. Yeah, we're good at Smithereens. There's actually a good band called the Smithereens. The CIA is here with us. Thank you. What was it like being part of these operations, Tom? You must have been a general or major with all the life experience you had back then. I was 1.5 years old when this happened. They're yellow. They're unguided rockets. Okay. That boat looks so menacing and dangerous, you just couldn't use it in battle. It looks like something Ernest Borgnine would captain. McHale's Navy. That's a good call. Oh, McHale's Navy. Maybe we should do a show on McHale's Navy. By the way, next week, we will be doing Land of the Giants, the TV show, and there's a slight chance we'll do Ritz crackers. Good cracker. Victor will listen. Victor, you do whatever you want, brother. It's Friday night. We got no rules. The rocket tubes are yellow, not the other people. So Daniel Ellsberg, who's kind of a, he's a military analyst for the United States. And he released the Pentagon Papers, which, wait, there's another thing that's not a conspiracy theory. I'm going to put Pentagon Papers down here. The Pentagon Papers, man, they really, oh boy. That was some top secret stuff, the Pentagon Papers. Anyway, he was on duty in the Pentagon on the 9th of August the 4th, and he was receiving messages from the USS Maddox, and he reported that that particular vessel was on a DeSoto mission near the northern Vietnamese territorial waters. And, that's when all the problems started. That's when all the problems started. Yeah. So on the 2nd of August, some torpedo boats neared the Maddox. The Maddox fired 3 warning shots. The North Vietnamese boats then attacked, and the Maddox radioed she was under attack from 3 boats, closing to within 10 nautical miles, while located 28 nautical miles from the North Vietnamese coast. And so they were in international waters, had every right to be here. The Maddox stated she had evaded a torpedo attack and opened fire with its 5-inch, that's 127 millimeter guns, forcing the torpedo boats away. 2 of the torpedo boats had come as close as 5 nautical miles and released 1 torpedo each, but neither one was effective, coming no closer than about 100 yards after the Maddox invaded them. Another of these torpedo boats received a direct hit from a 5-inch shell from the Maddox. Yeah. Now, 4 Crusader jets launched from the USS Ticonderoga then decided to get involved. And 15 minutes after the Maddox had fired her initial warning shots, they attacked the North Vietnamese torpedo boats, as they were retreating. And they sunk one, heavily damaged another. The Maddox, as I mentioned earlier, suffered only this single 14.5 millimeter bullet into the superstructure of the ship. And they went out of the North Vietnamese waters into the South Vietnamese waters and was, joined up with a destroyer, Yeah. So there you go. Now, all of that's well and good. And all of that actually happened. It was a real thing that happened. And shame on them for firing upon us after our warning shots. Those guys were being a bunch of real jerks. But then, 2 nights later, incidentally, I will be posting the link here in just a little while. Not too long, because there's not much more left to this, really. 2 nights later, they're doing their DeSoto patrol again, intercepting signals and all that stuff. And they also wanted to go back into this area and do that in a way that kind of said, hey, we're the United States. You're not going to scare us off with your silly little SS minnows that have torpedoes on them. That's not happening. We are going to do what we want when we want in international waters. And you're just being jerks. So there was actually very rough weather and heavy seas, but they were still receiving radar and sonar and actual radio signals that they believed meant that another attack was imminent. So for about 2 hours, the USS Maddox and the USS Turner Joy, the destroyer that accompanied it, 2 hours, they fired on radar targets and maneuvered vigorously amid these totally electronic reports of enemies. Now, it's important to make the distinction that there were, as part of these electronic reports, visual confirmations. In other words, they didn't see anything, but part of their reports were intercepts and communications, all electronic, that said, we see this, we see that, even though nothing was really going on. Okay? Despite the Navy's claim that 2 attacking torpedo boats had been sunk, there was no wreckage, no surviving or deceased North Vietnamese sailors, or any other physical evidence at all at the scene of the trumped-up engagement. All right? Now, at about 1 in the morning local time, which was be about 1:30, it was 1:30 local time. It was about 1:30 also in Washington, just 1:30 in the morning, 1:30 in the afternoon. The captain of the ship, Captain Herrick, sent a cable in which he acknowledged that the second attack may not have happened, and that there may have actually been no Vietnamese craft in the area of it all. He said, review of action makes many reported contacts and torpedoes fired appear doubtful. Freak weather effects on radar and over-eager sonar man may have accounted for many reports. No actual visual sightings by Maddox. Suggest complete evaluation before any further action taken. And 1 hour later, he sent another cable stating entire action leaves many doubts except for apparent ambush at beginning. Suggest thorough reconnaissance in daylight by aircraft. Now, in response to the request for confirmation, he said, details of action present a confusing picture, although certain that the original ambush was bona fide. That's the one from days earlier. And it's likely that Robert McNamara did not inform either the president or Admiral Grant about his misgivings, Captain Herrick's misgivings, or his recommendation for further investigation. The captain, about 5 o'clock Washington time, 6 o'clock Washington time, cabled again, saying, the first boat to close on the Maddox probably launched a torpedo at the Maddox, which was heard but not seen. All subsequent torpedo reports are doubtful, and it's expected that sonarmen were hearing the ship's own propeller beat. Can you believe it? And this is just hours after this whole thing happens. Robert McNamara in 1996 said it was ultimately concluded that almost certainly the 4th of August attack had occurred, but even at the time there was some recognition of a margin of error, so we thought it highly probable but not entirely certain. And because it was highly probable, and because even if it hadn't occurred, there was a strong feeling we should have responded to the first attack, which we were positive had occurred, President Johnson decided to respond to the second attack. I think is now clear that second attack did not occur. So talking out of both sides of his mouth there, if you ask me. He's talking out of both. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. All right? Now, here's the thing about President Johnson. President Johnson did not like to hear dissenting opinions in his cabinet. He really didn't like that at all. No, he didn't. So shortly before midnight on the 4th of August, President Johnson interrupted national television to make an announcement. Here he is. Here's our guy. Oh, before I show you that, well, I'll go ahead and show you that. There he is. The thing in front of him is this. This is the actual Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, signed by him and everything else. That says, hey, anybody in Southeast Asia needs us to do something, we can do it. So there he is, and he makes this announcement, right? And he describes an attack by North Vietnamese vessels on 2 Navy warships, the Maddox and the Turner Joy, and requests authority to undertake a military response. His speech repeated the theme that dramatized Ho Chi Minh as the aggressor and which put the United States in a more acceptable defensive posture. He also referred to the attacks as having taken place on the high seas, indicating that they had taken place in international waters. He emphasized his commitment to the American people and the South Vietnamese government. He also reminded Americans there's no desire for war here. No, we don't want any of that. Within 30 minutes of the incident, Johnson had decided on retaliatory attacks dubbed Operation Pierce Arrow. 30 minutes of this incident that never took place. Yeah, within 30 minutes, he's like, we're going to retaliate. That same day, he used the hotline to Moscow and assured the Soviets he had no intent on opening a broader war in Vietnam. Early on the 5th of August, Johnson publicly ordered retaliatory measures, stating, "The determination of all Americans to carry out our full commitment to the people in the government of South Vietnam will be redoubled by this outrage." 1 hour and 40 minutes after his speech, aircraft launched from U.S. carriers reached North Vietnamese targets, and at about 10:40, these planes bombed 4 torpedo boat bases and an oil storage facility. There you go. Now, the reaction from Congress. Very important here. While the final draft of the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution was being drafted, this fella right here, U.S. Senator Wayne Morse, attempted to hold a fundraiser to raise awareness about possible faulty records of the incident involving the Maddox. Senator Morse supposedly received a call from an informant who has remained anonymous all these years, urging Morse to investigate the official logbooks of the Maddox. These logs were not available before the resolution was presented to Congress. After urging Congress that they should be wary of Johnson's coming attempt to convince Congress of his resolution, Morse failed to get enough cooperation and support from his colleagues to mount any sort of movement to stop it. Immediately after the resolution was read and presented to Congress, Morse began to fight it. Okay? He contended in speeches to Congress that the actions taken by the United States were actions outside the Constitution and were acts of war rather than acts of defense. His efforts were not immediately met with support, largely because he didn't reveal any sources and he didn't have much information. It was not until after the United States became more involved in the war that his claim began to gain support throughout the United States government. So there you go. What do you think about that? What do you think about old Wayne Morse here? What a guy. Huh? Look at him. I know. He looks like your local barber, but he was on it. Good job, Wayne. So, it's then in our story. Hey, by the way, like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell. Please do that, please. If you subscribe, if you've never been before and you're just subscribing, just subscribe. You never have to come back. I'm sure you won't want to, but it would help me. And then also likes help us with the algorithm, the almighty algorithm, which is much like a sonar signal on the Maddox. That's just it. It's a real thing, though. It really helps out. And then super chats and memberships are the lifeblood of the program. They're what require. They keep me in Mountain Dew Zero and help me pay for StreamYard, which I'm going to guarantee you will malfunction during the show. Also, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you can learn how to turn on your gifted memberships, and then you can get a free membership from somebody, because gifted memberships are the coolest way to contribute to the show. They make you look really cool when you gift a membership. It's like, hey, here's a little membership, and that's it. Don't worry about it. It's on me. The other thing about it is you can also go into the description, and there's a link to our merchandise store, and you can get our kitschy logo and stuff on things. Yeah. Heck yeah. I'm sure you guys got comments. I'm sure you got comments. Just like just like the ugly Howard kid, Tom commanded a ship of robots. The ugly Howard kid, yeah. Clint Howard. CIA says you and I were you were 1.5 years old in 1964. Now that's a conspiracy. There really is. He was truly a dangerous infant. Ken says this is now an episodic conspiracy unraveling show. Are we going backwards to LBJ whacking Kennedy or forward to the Bushes? I think the thing that I would like to do is go to LBJ having Fresca put into the taps at the White House. LBJ loved him some Fresca. And so he had a Fresca tap there, in there. Victor says he had a buddy that was in the Tet battle. Some call it the Tet offensive. The domino effect was a lie. Okay, Tim. It was a hypothesis. I guess war can be heck. Did you know Vietnam undeclared war was a police action? They maneuvered vigorously. That sounds very perv. It does. They were very athletic, quick feet. You know, a Maddox is a pickaxe. It is. But it's spelled like Julian say. Yeah. Yeah. USA probably owes Vietnam a lot of money. I don't think it's the other way around. Because there's a North and a South, you see, and we help the South quite a bit. The Wolf says, although we do have a long tradition in the United States of giving money to people we either aid or defeat in a war. I don't know why we do that. Wolf says, holy smokes, this show's beginning to sound like northern perversion. Honest to Pete, I do believe we have a problem with, oh, hey now, hey. Secret agent. Crappy at Life says, H2BH, he's happy to be here. Happy to see you, big fella. Victor says, my mother, very concerned about our young men dying in Vietnam. She wrote a letter to Secretary of Defense. Well, that would have been Robert McNamara, the guy that was shilling for LBJ. After Mom passed away, looking through boxes of stuff, a reply was in the box. Well, and the reply was by and signed by the U.S. Secretary of Defense. Yeah, Robert McNamara. I just talked about him. I quoted him at length. I talked about his haircut. Julian liquor. Get some liquor. Dude has some brows going on. He does have some brows. I'm going to show you another guy here in a second. And they all used to wear those great suits. I always like those men in black, kind of black suits, Blues Brothers suits with just a black tie. I love those. Crappy says, Tom, I'm beside myself tonight. I finally got the TV of my dreams, only to have the rear cover crumble like, oh, man. When you say TV of your dreams, Sony has made a powerful enemy. Do you mean a brand new television or a television from the old days? I tell you what. I had some friends who were getting rid of a bunch of their televisions. And this was probably 10 years ago. And it was probably 10 years ago. And then they were getting all flat screens. One of the televisions that they were getting rid of was a Sony Trinitron. And it was a big one. It was a big honking one, right? Heavy to lift. Oh my gosh, it was heavy. And it had a DVD player and a VHS in it. And I'm like, you're getting rid of that? And they're like, yeah. And I said, I'll take it. So I got it. And then they went all digital, and I got one of those converter boxes. The picture on this thing was incredible. But when I moved to Utah, it just couldn't make the move with me. You can still get really good televisions. You got to look for them on Craigslist and stuff. If you have the converter box and you watch over-the-air television, or I assume there's a way to, maybe you could figure out a way to put a Fire Stick or Chromecast on them. Man. Now, you got to realize they're going to have the big back end on them, but if you've got a spare room or something that you could put it in a corner, and I'm telling you, I wish I still had that Trinitron. I really do. Sony has made a powerful enemy. Ken says getting more things with stuff on them is why we do wars. Well, my show, I think I'm going to make the official motto of the show, things about stuff. Crappy life, your dreams turned into a nightmare. Victor missed Vietnam by a few years. But did you really miss it? Tom, have you heard of Polybius? Polybius? How's that pronounced? Polybius? It's an urban legend about a lost video game. Is that what you're talking about? Is that... You're not talking about the Greek historian, I'm sure. That's actually not a bad topic. If it's the video game, it's not a bad topic. I might do that next week. Thank you, Abracadaver. Fresca looks and tastes weird. You know Metal Maiden Vicky. It's your grapefruit flavored soda. But here's the thing about Fresca. When I was living in Indianapolis, there were some gals that I knew. I knew a lot of gals back then that were in the media business. You know, they were salespeople for radio stations and stuff, and media buyers and whatnot. This one gal was, I think, kind of close to my house. And they had thrown an event at some park. And she calls me up on the phone, and she says to me, hey, are you home right now? And I said, yes, I am. She goes, I'm stopping by for a second. I said, okay, go ahead and stop by. And she stopped by, and she was actually a friend of a friend, although I was friends with her, too. She's a nice person. And she had with her that she was trying to get rid of because the soft drink companies will donate for big park events and stuff product. And she had 4 cases of Fresca she didn't on her hands that she clearly didn't want. She goes, here, take these off my hands. And I said, okay. And I took the 4 cases of Fresca and I put them next to my refrigerator. And they sat there for I don't know how long. It's probably 3-4 months. And then it got to be wintertime in Indiana where you don't want to leave the house. And I had run out of soda. And I thought, okay, I'm going to just check out some of these Frescas. And I started drinking the Frescas. And the first 2 or 3 were they were rough. But after a while, after I started drinking them for a little bit, and especially after you put them in, chill them, man, I learned to really like Fresca. It was really good, I have to say. They've updated the packaging. Fresca now has a much cooler looking package. You seem to know an awful lot about all this, not to have been involved or possibly the one behind the attack. Shh, quiet. Say that out loud. You don't need to tell me twice, Wolf. Julian Zezer says, I got rid of an old TV, had to smash it with a 5-pound sledge and use a Sawzall to cut up the plastic cake, built like a tank. This Trinitron was the same way, man. This thing, me, a hoss, a strapping 6'5", cords of muscle, athletic, quick-footed, stick of dynamite. It was tough for me to lift. Victor said, I had a Trinitron, good TV, heavy as, yeah, it was heavy. And awkward to get your hands around. Julian Zeter says, yep, Victor took 3 bags to put it out in the trash. Well, see, what you do with that is you just put it out by the curb. Somebody will come pick it up. I like that. Do a show on the rise and the fall of the Maddox, not the Destroyer, the Tool. Julian, I could have thrown that TV off the roof and taken care of it. Yeah, the Wolf was good at throwing things out of dorm rooms and off of roofs. Greg could never get the best of Tony Gwynn. Greg Maddox, no, he couldn't. The only reason I know so much about the Vietnam War is because of all the stories that Tom has told me. My favorite Vietnam Tom quote was, we were winning when I was there. I do believe that's the truth. Okay, so now the U.S. government starts to really distort the event, okay? They're still looking for evidence that actually happened when Johnson gives the address and messages that were recorded that day, because Johnson, by this time, most of his conversations were recorded. You can go back and listen to them. There are lots of them that indicated that not Johnson and not Robert McNamara, the Secretary of Defense, were certain of an attack. Various news sources, including Time, Life, and Newsweek, published articles throughout the month of August about the Gulf of Tonkin incident. And, you know, they were pushing forth the narrative that this actually happened. You know, so the use of these incidents was the pretext for the escalation of the U.S. involvement against North Vietnam, and calls for lots of politicians to escalate the war as well. All right? This guy, William Bundy, oh, what a piece of work this guy was. A lot of people think he was a real jerk. He was a CIA analyst, okay? I'm going to show you him right here. And this is kind of like, this is from a Camp David photo of some advisors, right, that had been involved. Because, you know, there's not a lot of pictures of William Bundy because, well, he was a CIA analyst. So, you know, in May of '64, well before any of these things happened, he had called for the U.S. to drive the communists out of South Vietnam, even if it meant attacking both North Vietnam and communist China. Okay? So, you know, they're looking for a reason. They're looking for a reason. And U.S. Undersecretary of State George Ball told a British journalist after the war that at the time the Gulf of Tonkin incident occurred, many people were looking for any excuse to initiate bombing. He said that the mission of the destroyer warship involved in the Gulf of Tonkin incident was primarily for provocation. Yes. Yes. One of the CIA's analysts from 1963 to 1990, Ray McGovern, said, not to mention Lyndon Johnson, Robert McNamara, McGeorge, Bundy, all of them knew full well that the evidence of any armed attack was highly dubious. And during the summer of 1964, President Johnson and the Joint Chiefs of Staff were eager to widen the war in Vietnam. They stepped up sabotage and hit-and-run tactics, and there you are. This is all a trumped-up thing. Yes. Yes. So as a consequence, you know, they started attacking and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. Later on, LBJ said privately, for all I know, our Navy was shooting at whales out there. Huh? Yes. A former naval officer, John White, in 1967, wrote a letter to the editor of the New Haven Register saying, I maintain that President Johnson, Secretary McNamara, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff gave false information to Congress in their report about U.S. destroyers being attacked in the Gulf of Tonkin. And he continued his whistleblowing activities in the 1968 documentary In the Year of the Pig, which I think you might be able to see on YouTube. In 1981, the captain of the Maddox, Captain Herrick, and journalist Robert Shear re-examined the ship's log and determined that the first torpedo report from August 4th, which was the apparent beginning of an ambush, was in fact unfounded. Yes. Yes. Squadron Commander James Stockdale. James Stockdale. You guys remember him. He was Ross Perot's VP candidate, and he was a prisoner of war, by the way, in Vietnam. He was one of the U.S. pilots flying overhead during the second alleged attack, and he wrote in his 1984 book, Love and War, I had the best seat in the house to watch that event, and our destroyers were just shooting at phantom targets. There were no PT boats there. There was nothing there but black water and American firepower. He also recounts that at one point, the Turner Joy was pointing her guns at the Maddox, and he was ordered by superiors to keep quiet about it. Yes. Yes. A lot of former defense ministers and generals in the North Vietnamese army denied that this happened for a long time. Of course, nobody believed them. And many other people. Eventually, in 2005, the New York Times reported that Robert J. Hanyok, a historian for the NSA, concluded that the NSA distorted intelligence reports passed to policymakers regarding the 4th of August incident. The NSA historian said the agency staff deliberately skewed the evidence to make it appear that an attack had occurred, and his conclusions were initially published in the winter-spring 2000-2001 edition of Cryptologic Quarterly, about 5 years before the Times article. According to intelligence officials, the view of government historians that Hanyok's report should become public was rebuffed by policymakers concerned that comparisons may be made to intelligence used to justify the Iraq War. Who would ever do that? But eventually it did come out, and it is now pretty much universally recognized and proved that the Gulf of Tonkin incident never, ever happened. That's what I have to tell you about it today on this Friday. I'll get to some of your comments here in a second. First, I have to post the link, because you know I am a link posting fool on Fridays, where I do the show that I wonder why I even do it. And I got to go to the grocery store tomorrow, 6 a.m. I'm down to my last sody. How am I going to survive the rest of the evening on one sody? It's just human cruelty of the worst. Look at that Bundy guy. Look at that look on his face. Doesn't he just look upset and just, I'm not happy. I'm a grouchy guy. I'm into like war and subterfuge and things of that nature. And I think I'd like to make up a war today. I don't care. Who asked you? I'm in charge here. Nobody cares. Anyway. Let's see here. I got some more comments. I'm taking this guy's picture off of here. He looks like a real jerk. I'm gonna put that guy back. Look at that guy. Hey, would you kids like an ice cream? I mean, he just looks like a guy like that, doesn't he? That works like at the local drugstore, like Mr. Gower a little bit. But there's the real hero in this story. Let me see if I can find my way back to. Victor says, where I live, a hotel, 20-year-old punks eyeball me if I go out to smoke. Manager hated me yesterday. Sorry. Don't worry about it, Victor. It's over now. Not the destroyer, not the tool. The original internet troll, George Uzunian. Yeah. Yeah, the kids just wanted to bum a cigarette. Wolf hates his keyboard. Notice how the wolf always like blames his equipment on stuff. Never his fault. Always the equipment's fault. Even I on here will say when I screwed something up, although it's extremely rare, it does happen. Never with the wolf. Never his fault. Never once has it been his fault. This is jacked up, and that's jacked up, and it's Apple's fault. Communist apologists never actually met any commies, says Julian Zezer. That's for sure. Was President Johnson really aware of the full story? I always had the impression his staff was pulling the wool over his eyes. Well, no, he said himself, for all I know, we were shooting at whales out there. I think they knew. Got my head better now. I really don't like. Okay, I can't go through all that. Tom, I congratulate you for getting through this without ever uttering the world's false flag, which it wasn't. Well, of course not. Oh, that's just the link. Have a nice glass of water, Tom. Ew. Julian Zeezer gifted 1 membership. Well, that means he gets the point. There you go. Look at that. With the ring of power and everything. Has the NSA ever done any good? I think they have. There was that one time. Yeah, and all these people in other countries want to, hey, look, anything ever happens again, you'll come running to us so fast. Anyway. Looks like a loan manager to me. He does. He does look like well, not a loan manager. Loan managers aren't that friendly. But he does look like maybe the general branch manager. I think you have a crush on that distinguished-looking senator, MMV. Tim Jenkins says the Russians are controlling his computer. Well, of course. Off Warrior got the membership. Okay, I don't know who that is, and they never come in here to watch the show. Well, he is quite dapper and dignified. Okay, let's get the real take on this. There he is. There's the fella right there. Hey, Wolf, what's going on, man?
Nothing works because of Streamlab.
Really? It's going to be hard to prove since I don't use Streamlab. Boom!
Streamlab, StreamYard,
Boom!
who cares? Boom!
Boom!
You're still inept.
Boom! I don't use Streamlab. See?
You don't have to. You're inept whether it's Streamlab or StreamYard.
It's always, you don't even have the right name. And Streamlab is complete. Streamlab is an interface for OBS. It's completely different.
Wonderful. You're still inept. Streamlab or StreamYard.
Look, I was inept before the invention of this technology. You can't blame my ineptitude for your lack of ability to.
Listen here, you dangerous little infant.
He was more dangerous. He was more
I can
dangerous.
hear you now inviting him in for a drink.
Would you like some Tranya? With the drink Tranya?
With that bow around his hideous little bald head.
I like Tranya. Anyway, let's see. Eyebrows are the windows to the soul, says Julius Caesar. That's funny. Oh, God.
He looks like a horror film guy or something.
You know what he looks? No, he looks like to me like a guy that would have been on like the Andy Griffith Show one time. Like he would have been the neighbor that that was getting the kids to paint his house or something.
No, the guy running the candy store.
Yeah, exactly. He's just kind of. Uh-oh. Speaking of candy store, hold on.
The ice cream man.
I hate him. The only thing bad, the worst part of the ice cream man coming by at 8 o'clock is I am doing a show and I can't go out there and tell him how much I hate him. He really is a unique looking man. I would really like to go out there one time and just go, hey man, you realize there is a severe thunderstorm warning on right now. It's 8 o'clock at night. It's 86 degrees, and you're out here just torturing people with turkey in the straw. Get a new song, do something. We all hate you.
Come get your ice cream. Come get your watermelon.
Well, if he did that, I'd like him better. If he was one of those, those old street vendors, ice cream, so good and cool and refreshing, ice cream. If he was one of those guys, I'd high five him. But let's see. Julian Zeter said Mr. Softy went down 2nd Street today when I was going my exercise, and I thought of Tom Gulley. Well, Tim Jenkins said he's probably a drug dealer. Really? Well, he's the guy that was sounding alarm for this didn't happen like before anybody. And by the way, thank you again, Julian Caesar, for gifting that membership. It was very kind of you. But anyway, yeah.
I hear McNamara's name, and I immediately think of sending sending idiots over there as an experiment.
Well, he also McNamara was like kind of an interesting guy in terms of the fact. Well, why don't we should probably do a show on Robert McNamara?
Oh,
He's got that great during the missiles of October. You know, during that whole thing.
you mean Mandrake?
Well, no, when the Russians were trying to, we found the Russian things in Cuba, and we went head to head with them. It's in that.
That's what I said, Mandrake.
I don't know what you're talking about, but
Dr. Strangelove. That's what the whole thing was about.
yeah, I'm talking about the real thing, though.
So am I.
Dr. Strangelove was a very highly fictionalized movie.
Yes, it is, and that's exactly what I think of when I hear McNamara's name, because that's what the movie was about. The Missile Crisis.
All right. Well, regardless of your thought process, what I'm saying is they had to stay up and come up with alternatives one time. Like they'd stayed up for 2 or 3 days because Kennedy.
Did you hear the conversation between he and Kennedy would leave the room and listen to those two?
Like I was just, can I finish my story?
No.
Can I just finish my story? Anyway, so they had stayed up for 2. Now it's just not even worth telling the story because just I've been derailed too many times.
Come on, now don't be pouting.
So they stayed up for 2 or 3 days, and they are all coming down the hallway because they went down in the bottom of the White House and came up with all these alternatives of how they were going to respond to the Russians. And the president said, "You guys have been up for how long now?" And that's when Robert McNamara said to him, "Sleep is for the weak, Mr. President." Which I always say to people that I work with that are like, "We got to pull an all-nighter." Sleep is for the weak.
I'll remember that when you fall asleep on the phone.
Yes, occasionally when I have an 18.
No. Now wait a minute. Sleep is for the weak.
When I have an 18-hour conversation,
I'm going to start yelling, "Hey, weakling! Hey, weakling, wake up!"
You can, but you also might consider that if you were more interesting, I wouldn't fall asleep.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with being the human tranquilizer. I can put anybody's babies to sleep at will.
I got to put Robert McNamara's picture up here because he had that same pervish haircut for like 105 years. Oh gosh, I shouldn't have closed that. I shouldn't have closed that window.
Yeah, I listened to that whole conversation between them fighting, and then Kennedy had that recording room set up so he could leave the room and listen to them arguing back and forth, and then he'd come in and make little adjustments in the conversation.
How old was he when he kicked off? Oh, come on now. Oh, he was like, he was 95 years old.
Yeah, I said not soon enough.
95 years old. Oh, no, 93 years old. Man, was he old. I'll tell you what. Let's see here. Julian Caesar says, if you're going to be an addict, I'd rather be addicted to ice cream. Oh, and Victor says, I have seen many things, jobs and stuff, weird stuff. It happens. Victor, you got to write a book or something, man, about something. You got to find a place to put all this stuff.
Oh, he ain't got any more stuff than I do or you do. Come on.
I don't know.
Well, I've definitely got weird stuff in my past.
Well, but ours don't happen in 25 character bursts. in a chat room. Let's see here. There's Robert McNamara. Look at that pervish 1932 haircut that he had for his whole life.
Yeah, what a psycho. Well,
What do you think Qatar is getting, or Qatar, or whatever people want to call it this week, is getting in exchange for the plane? I don't care.
The plane.
Giving him that big luxury plane, and when he leaves office, his library gets it. It's like, do you think any politician isn't just getting all the graft they can? They'll figure out a way. What, would you be happier if they gave it to him after he left office? I mean, who cares? It doesn't help me or hurt me. None of it. You know.
What do you mean they're taking all the graft they can get their hands on? You saying that because they go into office being worth maybe 60 or 100 grand and come out being worth 40 million, that they're taking graft? How dare you?
I know. It's the silliest thing in the world.
Where's the proof?
Yes. Where's the proof? It's always been that way. It's always. What was the name of that one government that didn't use its power to exploit the people? Hold on. I'll think of it here. Oh, there's never been one. Sorry.
What are you talking about? That's never existed in history.
Exactly. Let's see. Victor, the Secretary of Defense, wrote my mom an apology letter, not McNamara, the guy after that. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah, here it is. Defense Secretary, the guy after that of Vermont. No, I'm kidding. I'll find out who it is. Let's see.
You mean the form letter stamped?
How do you get to
by an assistant?
How do you get to be? Well, it's probably Xeroxed. How do you get to be that guy? How do you get to be that guy?
Well, if any of us was nuts enough and evil enough to be at that level, we'd probably know.
No, I mean the prerequisites. Let me see here.
I just named some of them.
He was succeeded by Clark Clifford. I think you'd get laughed out of.
Talk about being on Andy of Mayberry.
Yeah,
Clark Clifford.
It's like the other nations didn't take him very seriously. You know. Oh, be careful! U.S. Secretary of Defense is coming down the hallway. What's his name? Clark Clifford. Don't worry about him. Let's see here. He graduated from the University of California, Berkeley, Harvard Business School, served in the U.S. Army Air Forces during World War II. Henry Ford II hired him and a group of Army Air Force veterans to work for Ford Motor Company. And that doesn't
sound right. He would have been a lefty out the yin yang going to Harvard and Berkeley.
After that was a different time back then. After briefly,
of course, why? It was completely different days.
After briefly serving as Ford's president, he accepted appointment as Secretary of Defense. Oh boy. Oh, wow. And by the way, after he left as Secretary of Defense on February 29th, because it was leap year. The next day, he was made president of the World Bank Group and served as the head of that until 1981. Boy, that is one Illuminati dude.
Yeah, the Rothschilds must have been grooming him for quite a while.
By the way, he was a Republican when he was working for JFK.
Yeah. Those two, well, it didn't look like they got along too well. That's part of that whole thing that they showed.
Well, they probably just wanted some guy that the defense people would take seriously. But Julian Caesar has a conspiracy theory. He says back in McNamara's day, they wore patterned ties to show which school they went to so others would know if they were part of the in-group or the out-group. Yes. That's interesting. What was he apologizing for? I don't know. Maybe the dude before. I don't know. Julian Caesar says, what size Tupperware bowl did McNamara use for his hair?
Oh God! No, he's now. That's that nice 1930s, 40s buttered toast hair.
Yeah, combed his hair with a stick of butter.
That's right.
Let's see here. Tim Jenkinson says, I was watching an old Bill Hicks interview this morning, and he was talking about some conspiracy guy that said Israel will take over Palestine, then nuclear war will start. Yeah, I started that. I saw that too. It's a short that I saw recently. And by the way, that is from that public access Austin show that he did. Like his haircut, says Victor. Well, you can have one, Victor. All you need is a tub of Crisco and a plastic comb. Tim Jenkins.
That's a piece of toast with grass-fed butter on it. Gotta be with
salt butter in it. Tim Jacobson said, I was thinking, being as that was so long ago, it wasn't a bad prediction. You can go back. People can probably go back through these shows and find something I said off the cuff that I didn't even think about or was a joke and then turn it into a prediction. Mailman Vicky says, Julian, I'm sure his mom would know. What's this bowl he wore? Yummy haircut. Yes, I need some of that haircut on an English muffin.
That's right. There's nothing quite like buttered toast hair.
I don't know what I'm going to have for dinner.
Buttered toast?
I'm getting all hungry now. I didn't hardly eat today. I'm down to Friday. When it gets down to Friday, I'm like, I got stuff here, but do I really want it? I don't know.
How about a Hungry Man TV dinner?
I don't have any of those. It's high in sodium.
How do you handle a hungry man?
The manhandler. Yeah, I don't know. So I figure something out. I'm going to go to sleep early. There's no reason to stay awake. There's nothing good in the world happening to me. Why would I want to be awake for that?
Wine. Let me get my violin out.
I got to go to then see, tomorrow I'll go to the grocery store at 6 a.m. And then when I get home from that, everything will be good in the world.
Oh my God, it's just an angry man again. That angry giant's here again.
No, I'm all pleasant at the grocery store. Once I hop in the Jag and start heading for the grocery, and I'll be happy. I'll be very happy.
You're the guy they used to send to me all the time when they're all afraid to deal with the customers.
Nobody has to deal with me. I don't have. I bet.
Look at that price. That's ridiculous. Look at that merchandise. Oh, that's junk.
I never say that. I just, if it's too expensive, I don't buy it. If it's ridiculous.
Why don't they have what I need here?
Don't project your living hell of working for Wally World on me.
I had fun dealing with those people. I screwed with them all the time.
Do you go so early to avoid people? Yes, Tim Jenkinson. Julian Zeezer says, well, and Julian, I'm glad you're mentioning this because I'm going to bring this into the Wolf. They don't get all that stuff on the shelves until 9 a.m. I think of you every Saturday morning, Wolf, because when I get there, nothing is put away. Nothing is fully stocked. There's still like pachyderms walking around. And if I were going to talk to them, which I will not, I would say, I have a buddy who worked in the highest volume Walmart store in the universe. And he's told me multiple times, you guys are supposed to have all of this stuff done before the doors open.
Nothing on the floor. Everything stocked.
Tom must not buy any fresh food. Yes, I do. But not there. Can't buy it there. It ain't out. There's stuff out, but it's, it should have already, they have inventory control. It should have already been taken off the shelf, but it's not yet. But I often want to tell them.
It's supposed to be gone 14 days before that date, and
another thing is, I even cut them a break because I know Walmart in this day and age, and all grocery stores, they like a lot of their vendors to stock the shelves. Like if you go into the snack aisle, the Frito-Lay guy is there, and he's taken all the old bags, which of course they never go bad. It's potato chips. They'll last until 2030. And he's restocking them, and he's doing all that. I cut him a total break on that. I'm like, you can't control when the vendors get in here and do that. That's fine. But all of their stuff, like I go into the bakery section, and I like the French bread that is sliced, so I can make a bunch of little sandwiches with it. I get in there, they never have the sliced ones. And I'm like, just like, what? These racks are like 5 of them are empty, and your store is open. Anyway. Tim Jenkinson says, when they replace people, will the shelves be stocked on time? I don't know, man.
No, because you'll still have idiots over idiots over idiots.
Mm-hmm. Who programs the robots?
And
AI, all it does is scrape the data available. So AI will go, well, this dummy didn't clock into this time. The robot should also start 3 hours late.
Yeah, they're those vendors are supposed to be done and off the floor by 8. Very seldom does that happen, and they screw with the vendors and mess with them and cause them to be slowed down, hassle them at the back door, all kinds of stupid stuff. Yeah. I never did that. My guys were off when they were supposed to be. Their stuff was full. All their stuff was set up. I had no problems with them if they needed a little extra time to do something for me, because we were actually paying them to do that. I seem to be the only manager in Walmart that understood that.
The only people I deal with, and it's only when I get to one of the, my volunteer, I do some volunteer work every Saturday morning. Every Saturday morning, I get
bagging the groceries.
Oh yeah, it's I do a little volunteer work for a major corporation, to help them out, because I'm worried about them. Are you guys going to make it this week? Why don't you let me take care of that? And inevitably, I'll get to one of those scanners, and there is so much gook and crud on that scanner thing that I'm just looking at it and going, I don't even want to, this is disgusting. And so at a certain point, certain things won't scan, and I just throw them to the side. And then one of the ladies eventually come over and goes, everything okay? I'm like, those won't scan. It might have to do with the 4 or 5 day haze of gook that you've got on this scanner. And she's like, oh, well, here, let me fix that. You can scan them. And I went, no, I don't want them now. Nope, not buying them now. I'm doing this on a volunteer basis. If you're not going to make it easy for me, forget it. I don't want them. So then, usually when that happens, when there's a couple of people that I go every Saturday morning, so I see them all the time, and they know me now. And when I have my receipt out, they just wave me through. They don't even bother.
Look out, it's the angry giant.
They just wave me through, and I'm very pleasant with them, and we talk and chat a little bit and stuff. Julian Zeta says, every time I go to the supermarket, the cashier just criticize my purchase. Yeah, I've had that happen too. I've had that happen with people behind me in the line. It's like I'll be getting a bunch of snacks for the Super Bowl or something. Somebody's not eating very healthy, and I just turn around. You want to race? You want to race me, Tubby? Huh? Right now, you want to go out in the parking lot, race me there and back? I don't think you do. So I get over to where there's like a new person that's the check your receipt. And if I'm in a bad mood and the new person wants the receipt, I just look at him and go, do you want something? Yeah, I need to check your receipt. And I'm like, well, why? This is all my property. I own this. I just paid for it. If you think I stole something, call the police. You got 1,000 security cameras here. And you also have the 2 chicks right there at the checkout part that are supposed to be watching, but they're on their phone or talking to each other. So I've already passed 3 layers of security, and this is now my property. Do you have a search warrant? Didn't think so. I'm taking this out to my car. You're not looking at anything. And if you got a problem with it, again, you can just get my license plate number and have the cops show up. that'll be fine. But this is my property. I just bought it. It's not yours. Okay? So you don't get to look at it. Anyway, now we know why they don't check his receipt.
Are you finished with your angry rant yet?
Well, Tim Jenkinson says now we know why they don't check his receipt. This morning, the cashier asked me why I was buying canned clams. Yeesh, no offense, Julian, I might ask you that myself.
That sounds suspicious.
There's probably things that canned. There's certain things that canned is actually better than fresh, but that hasn't happened in a long time. Now there's an older dude that's from the Middle East, and then there's a younger lady with a hijab that are always there, and so sometimes I'll offer my thing to her, and she'll just take it and just look at it, and then look back at me like I don't even know why you gave this to me. But I always talk with them and have a nice chat, and it's very pleasant. And there's a couple other ones that I know. There's the Romanian lady at the checkout area where I do all of the bagging of the groceries. And she always asks me, how are you doing this morning? And I'm always like, just here to do my part-time unpaid job.
Just here to be a ray of sunshine.
Just here to do that part-time unpaid job that I have. I did this 40 years ago and they paid me for it. Now I'm doing it for free. This is great.
Hey, that's progress.
That is progress. And I even, it's like if you took 1%, 2%, 3% off the cost of my purchases, I would be happy to bag my own groceries. But when I'm sitting there and I've got a box in my hand and I have to look at 6 different sides, and then I finally find the code and beep. A trained professional would know exactly where the code is. I'm not one of those. Let's see, because he explodes when they ask for his receipt. I don't explode. They give you free bags. What more do you want? Said Julie said. Well, that's another problem because, if you're lucky, you get there and the bags are very easy to get open. And then when you bag it up and pull it off, that next one pulls it open, But sometimes you get there and I don't know whether they've been left on a loading dock or put in a microwave, but it's just a giant chunk of plastic. And you're sitting there licking your hand and trying to pull the thing. Oh, God. It's a nightmare. It's a living. See, now I'm not in a good mood to go to the store now. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Ruined my one good.
You're the one that did it. We didn't.
Jump in the Jaguar and go. Let's see. Tim Jenkins says you have to pay for bags here. Ooh. Julian Zeter says, well, hey, Tim, I believe me, they're working the price of those bags into the cost. Trust me. I don't have any illusion that I'm getting a free bag. I bring my own bags, but always take a free one or two because they're useful. I don't throw them away. I swear to God, I've got 7,000 empty plastic bags under my sink. I had to.
I used them to pack stuff.
They're great. One thing I do like about those bags is you can carry 9 million tons of stuff if you could just hook your fingers through the openings.
I finally got rid of all mine.
Julian Zeter says plastic bags are illegal here. They have to provide pepper. The pepper bags.
Where the heck does he live? Good Lord.
I don't know.
It's bad in California, but that sounds worse.
Probably Oregon. I don't know. Don Gupperbach says plastic bags are free trash can liners. You can use them for the small ones, yeah. Yeah. And also always have one in your car. Fold it up real small and have one in your car in case you got to, heave or some other gross thing. You never know. You never know.
Some other gross thing.
Who knows what you need that for? I've got maybe you just have some trash and you just throw it out the window. So tomorrow Julian Caesar says Gupper box. I hardly know her.
That's what you need Ranger Rob's puppy bags for.
Oh, these people don't remember the glory of Ranger Rob's pet poopy bags. Lemon scented, biodegradable with extra large handles. Yeah, I could do the whole commercial right in this minute. Boy, I made a mint on those. Meaning nothing.
Ranger Rob.
Meaning not one pay. Well, Ranger Rob messed up. You know, Ranger Rob had me on his little network there. And somebody talked him into moving my show from the morning time slot because they wanted it. And that was a person that had come on the show and been a jerk. Remember that guy from Philly that called in that one time and talked about what a complete jerk he was? He was the guy that was a huge addict.
Yeah.
And then now he has a, self-help show to not be an addict. And 3 weeks into it,
I was going to say Skeletor initially, and then I thought, nah.
It was him and two co-hosts that were all former addicts, and the show was about getting people to break their addictions. And 3 weeks into it, one of the co-hosts had a major relapse. And that ended the show. But I was like, and he moved my show without saying a thing about it, because I was on it at 7 in the morning, 7 in the evening. And I just went, okay, man. All right, that's what you want to do.
All right, Mr. Puppy Bags.
He's a nice man. His daughter married, but very attractive. Tim Jenkinson says, Hitman Tom.
Oh, you just had to throw that out.
Well, they're all nice. They're nice people. They're nice.
Wow,
I'm just saying they're nice people.
Now, wait a minute now. His daughter.
Well, no, his daughter's a nice lady. She's got a son that wanted to get into voice work or something. I helped send her a bunch of advice and people to talk to. Tim Jenkinson said, FA Cup tomorrow, then it's Arsenal versus Newcastle on Sunday. I don't even, let me see here. Arsenal, Newcastle, who cares? Let me see something here. Let's see what we got going. Crystal Palace versus Man City. Well, you know who I'm rooting for. I want Crystal Palace to win, but they won't.
Obviously.
They won't. Arsenal versus Newcastle. Arsenal runs the risk of not finishing second, although I don't. What's the big deal? They've been playing so terribly for so long in the league. What's the difference between second and third or fourth? As long as you get in the Champions League next year. Tim says, yeah, the season is done for Arsenal. Well, that may be true, but it's been done for Newcastle for much longer than for Arsenal. Everton will lose against Southampton. And Everton, how are Everton doing? Everton are actually league standings. I don't know. Everton are second. Oh, they're 13th in the league. Oh, yeah, we'll definitely lose to them.
Wow. Mr. Positive.
So, yeah, they're 13th. Well, see, Arsenal is the longest record of not being relegated. Everton are second. Let's see here. Length of time since relegation.
Let's see. They're ranked seventh graders. We'll definitely lose to them. Mr. Positive.
What's list? Let's see a list. Okay. There's one team called Arsenal that it's never been relegated. Never. But I think that the longest since that. Oh, did Everton you guys were relegated for a season? I forgot about that because you guys were second for a long time. A long time. Oh, I'm so sorry, Tim. I thought you were second. Hopefully Spurs get relegated. That would be nice. Oh, man, I would throw a party if Spurs got relegated. And much as I'm not crazy about Manchester United, I want Spurs to lose in that Euro League final. Jeez. I know Everton had fought off relegation a whole bunch of seasons in a row, but I didn't realize they actually got relegated. That's what this list says. It says when was I thought theirs was a long time ago. Let's see. See, ChatGPT. Thank you. Let me see here. Let me see here. Oh, God. I can't find the list. Last time Everton were relegated was the 50-51 campaign. They've been in the top flight since 54-55. I think Liverpool might. I don't know. I know Arsenal has been there the longest. Yeah, it's fake news. It's fake news. I know Everton is second. Although Everton they have barely escaped recently here. Bunch of times. Mm-hmm. Not us. No. We like the torture of finishing second 3 years in a row. We like the torture of having the largest lead at Christmas time and then choking. And we like the torture of losing by a point on the last day of the season. We love that.
Part of the overall appeal.
Yes. I don't know why we don't fire our manager. You finish second 3 seasons in a row at a lot of places, and you are gone. And then when you get beat in the semis of the Champions League and go, well, we were the best team in the tournament, obviously. No, you're not. You got beat. How can you be the best and get beat? That guy's delusional. Yeah, Arsenal always do that. Well, we do occasionally win it as well, Tim. I don't want to get into when the last time Everton won the... But our manager is delusional. You know, well, we were the better team today. You lost 2-0. What's wrong with you? Arsenal and Leeds are cursed. How are we cursed? We hit the Invincibles. What are you, crazy? We won an FA Cup like 3 or 4 years ago. 5, whatever.
That guy just looks like a dude that would have a bunch of people buried in his backyard somewhere.
He does. Look at that part.
I mean, that
is a straight part, man.
That's like a mobster's haircut from the old days. You know, like a boss or something.
Tim Jenkinson is sitting there pretending like Manchester City hasn't been violating the rules for the last half a decade. So, yeah, he does look like, hey, Muggsy, let's go see Mr. Big.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of his name, but he always wore his hair like that.
Yeah. That is a straight part.
Yeah, no deviation. That
very straight.
I'm sure he's probably bumped some people off secretly, and no one knew about it.
Probably. Well, up at that level, you know. Up at that level.
I still can't believe some of the crap he got away with.
Yeah, he was a big power broker.
That whole program where they were sending mentally deficient soldiers over there to fight to see how long they would survive. Like, what the hell? What?
Well, look, he had a soft spot in his heart for people that weren't as smart as him, as evidenced by the American eagle behind him, which looks like it was made out of macaroni by a third grade art class. Look at that thing. That's awful.
He stood where they fell.
Yeah, he did. Look at him. Look at his knuckle. I'm just going to take down the begging bar. Julian Caesar donated. Nobody else is going to give this anyway. Look at that pen. You know that pen's
He looks like he just looks like he's up to something. He's up to no good. He's very suspicious looking.
That pen's just got like an ice pick in when he clicks it. And he plunges it into
turns into a pistol.
Plunges it into people's medulla oblongatas. He's one of those guys. All right. Well, I should probably get out of here. I don't know. I got to go to the grocery store tomorrow. I was pretty excited about it, but
I've been looking at this guy's. I've looked at his picture so long, it's making me think about planning to bump somebody off.
Knocking over the leadership of a third world country. Yeah,
all
that's
right,
a good
Bugsy,
plan.
let's go take care of this guy.
Yeah. It just seems to me like he's like, well, let's
Gee, boss, do you want I should bump him off?
It's let's
His little beady eyes.
Let's destabilize Kuala Lumpur. Assassinate the Sultan of Brunei. Yeah, he does have that look about him. Hey, boss. Did you get the money? Well, what money, boss?
Between he and General Lamont, what a pair.
Yeah.
Nuts fighting against each other.
There's a lot of those guys, that sort of, well, send him to the front lines. We don't have to worry about him in a day or two. Anyway. What do you got going on for the weekend, Wolf?
I don't know. Maybe I'll work with my efficient computer. Hey, now that computer I have not worked on. I bought it. I did not make it like I did the other one. That's all factory garbage that's on it. I didn't even install the operating system on it. So
it's not your fault, is what you're saying?
No, I can't take a hit for it because I didn't do it. That's why I said I'll probably do a reinstall because that will be me.
You bought it.
The thing I did works. This one does.
You bought it.
I bought it because I didn't have a choice. I was building the other one.
You always have a choice. Well, yeah, of course. Your homemade computer wasn't working. So
No, I bought the one that I built. Initially, I did not even buy. A guy gave it to me because he couldn't figure out why it didn't work, and I fixed it. And then I decided to upgrade with all new stuff. So
you got to quit calling it the one you built and call it your homemade computer.
I prefer to call it the one I built.
Yeah, your homemade one, your hand-me-down computer.
No, the one I built.
The one the other guy, the one you bought, the store-bought one that you have, you picked it out. You bought it. So you did do something to
I gave him, and it was $150 or something.
Well, it's amazing to me. It's not working like a champ for $150.
Yeah. Well, I tried to increase the RAM and all that stuff, and it didn't work. And it's too small for all the crap that's on it.
Yeah. It's is it a Windows-based computer?
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, your problem right there. Anyway, well, hey, you have a good time with that. If it doesn't work, that'd be a real tough break.
Oh, jeez, what a tough break for the little guy, huh?
That'd be a real.
Jeez.
That'd be a tough break. Let's see.
Honest to Pete, what a tough break.
Tim Jenkinson thinks that Robert McNamara looks like Aaron Imholt. And then he says, oh, God, I don't want to start this conversation. Switch it to Linux. It will work so much better. Yeah, the Wolf likes Linux, don't you, Wolf?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Linux guy.
The one I built is Linux.
Yeah, how's it working right now?
Fabulously. In fact, I'm almost convinced that I need to switch all my my camera and my blue ball or whatever the heck it's called, my blue microphone to that.
Your
And say the
Yeti?
heck with that other one. What?
Is it a Yeti?
No, it's a blue.
Oh, it's one of those. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. All right.
Yeah, they're. It's not. I thought about getting one of those. Shure, is that what it's called?
Yeah, sure. Very good microphones. Sure.
Yeah, it was on the
fine name in microphones.
I was on the verge of purchasing that, and just decided the blue looked very curved, so I had to get it.
Yeah. Well, I usually go by the sound when I'm buying a microphone, but if you want to go by appearance, that's your business.
That's not important. It's how perv it looks.
I've had this one for 25, 30 years now, I think. Some long time. Long time.
Wow, that's back in those days. Wow, things were quality.
Yeah, they
Not
built
this
it.
junk they got now.
And it was built by the Germans. It's a Behringer, so it was built by the
there
Germans.
you have it then. There it
Germans
is
built this microphone for many years. You can still buy them. They're like $100, and you get a case and a boom shock mount, and it's just all you need for a podcast or something of this nature.
You start getting that you start getting that sauerkraut and bratwurst in there, you're in.
They include a little package of German chocolates, so that your first voiceover effort is you can speak very quickly.
Spur you on with positivity.
Speak very quickly and aggressively into the microphone. Let's see. It's crazy the prices of. Oh, hold on. I got to go way back here. Julian Zeter says Tom still records on wax discs. Hey, you take that back. I record on copper wire. Tim Jenkinson says it's crazy the prices of some microphones. Well, and then I remember seeing one for 4,000 pounds. Some people, and I know some successful people that think, oh, I'm going to do a podcast. And they will go out and spend $5,000 on a microphone. And I'm just like, are you nut? Are you recording a Taylor Swift album? Because unless you are, there's no need for that level of microphone. Now, even the microphone that I have right now, I could make it sound a lot better if I don't even have any sound processing like bass or treble or compression or anything going on here. It's just microphone into my Behringer interface, you know. The UMD 2020 HG is very, very good. And then into the computer, that's it. If I wanted to, I could have software, some other things in between, but this is fine for a podcast. If I really wanted to, and I need to start doing this, in fact, I should spend the whole weekend doing this, I could take my past shows, the good ones, you know, maybe there's two or three good ones.
So like one or two?
One or two, yeah. And then download the audio, and then I could go into Audacity or something and sweeten up the sound and things of that nature. But these people that tell me how much they spend on their microphone, and I'm looking at them, gosh, yours sounds so good. How much did you spend on yours? Well, I didn't spend $5,000. I spent I spent $99 back in 2000. Metal Main Vicky says she uses a blue snowball microphone for her show.
That's what I have.
Tim Jenkinson says add some auto tune. The blue snowball microphone. Okay, let's just take a look at this thing real quick.
Yeah, that's what I use.
It's funny to me that there's all of these blue snowball microphones. None of them are blue.
But the surrounding little design on it is blue.
I see a bunch of them. Blue Snowball Ice has the blue on it. Logitech makes the blue microphone. They got a bunch of blue ones. Now, is yours an actual ball, or is it the microphone looking one?
It's an actual ball.
Yeah, I see. They got a bunch of those. Yeah,
Uh,
those look like a flying saucer left them or something.
I could probably use the Logitech because it's got a good microphone on it. The camera that I've got, it was the top of the line for Logitech. Back there in the days of the Greeks and the Romans.
Well, it says
They
here
just
that Logitech makes the blue ice
Blue?
snowball. Yeah.
Well, this was before I even knew about Blue. This was like the most expensive thing they had at Office Depot.
Well, you did go to a high end place.
You betcha. Boy, they got the best. No, it was I think it was $85 or something. That was
Ooh.
a long time ago.
Mental Main Vicky says, I've had the same one since I started my show in 2015. I have not had to replace it. Yes, it's an actual ball. I bet the Russians are watching his camera. Well, you know, microphones should last pretty much. There's let's face it, there's no moving parts. Unless you have a ribbon mic, which is very sensitive, that ribbon can break. But that's only for use in super high-end recording studios for movies or, very, record albums, things of that nature. And so if you have a condenser mic, it should last forever.
Forever.
Yeah, it really should. And
I have
Melanie,
one,
hers sounds good on her show.
The one that I was going to put on the Linux system, the cord is broken on it. It's a Logitech. It had the headphones and the little mic that was hooked up to it.
Well,
in one.
I just gets back to, I don't know that you take very good care of your things. How'd the cord get broken?
I have no idea.
Well,
The same way they get broken on everything. The cord is the weak link.
okay. I don't know how I've had this mic cable here, 3-prong.
Have you had a Logitech headset all in one?
I
Have you used one of those?
No, I'm a professional.
Then you don't know what you're talking about.
I'm a professional person. I don't use the jacked
You're
up
a professional person.
gamer. I don't use gamer level equipment. I like
This
it.
was office equipment, Tom, not gamer level.
Reminds me of an old
Although
timey
gamer level is pretty awesome.
Oh, well, then yours was office level. Okay, I don't have the Jane from Time Life phone answerer level. I don't have the customer service headphone microphone thing.
Yeah, this wasn't customer service headphone microphone thing.
You said it was for an office. I don't know.
It is, but it's the top of the line for the office, not one of those.
So what would you use that for in an office?
How would I know? I don't work in an office.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They use it at call centers and stuff.
Well, okay, they can use whatever they want in a call center. This was not in the section for call centers. It was in the high fidelity section.
Oh, yeah, the well-known High Fidelity Office Depot. They got guitars back there and stuff, too.
Hey, you show me a store that had better that you could walk into and buy them. It's not a music store or something like that.
But you can't say that's not a music store because that's where they're at. You show me a store where you can walk in and buy good microphones. It's not
it just so happens
it's not a music store.
It just so happens that Office Depot was 2 blocks from me. The music store is 6 miles. Which one are you going to on the weekend?
Well,
are you going to drive 6 miles for a headset, or are you going to get one 2 blocks away?
No,
I'm going 2 blocks away.
I would go 6 miles to get the stuff that works and it doesn't break. Although Julian Caesar says in Tom's ivory tower, cords never break. No, I'm sure it was the cord's fault.
Yeah, it was a surprise to me it was broken because it shouldn't have been. I've very seldom used a thing.
Well, see, now that's what I don't understand. How can it break and you not know it broke?
Well, easily. It's on the back of the computer where it plugs in.
But I mean, you would have had to have at some point felt it break, or it didn't break just sitting there overnight.
No, I never used it. I have the blue. Why would I use that when I have the blue mic?
It was relatively inert. It wasn't moving. You weren't using it for anything, and it just broke.
You bet.
Man,
I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but sometimes rubber breaks with age.
Rubber.
Rubber, plastic, whatever the cord's made out of, breaks with age.
Well,
Did that cover all the bases
be
for
rubber.
you so that you feel comfortable
It
with
wouldn't
the
be
information?
rubber. I've had these headphones for golly gumption. For
Holy cow! Let me just give you a star and a prayer.
look at
That's
this.
so wonderful.
And I use it almost every day. I mean, forever I've been using
Wow,
this thing.
that's amazing.
But there's wire on the inside of it. I mean, it's not like just a piece of rubber. And it's certainly not rubber.
If you've had any experience with cords, they always fail where you plug them in.
I have plenty of I've got more
And having
cords
the
and
wall
cables
of
here.
sound, I think I know more about cords than you do.
I would beg to differ on that.
Do you have a
would.
wall of sound with 10 million hookups? No, I don't think so.
Well, none of them that are broken. No.
Your little radio doesn't match the wall of sound.
You see, I used to do IT for a school system, and
Hey,
we used
my
these
system
things
is better
called
than any school system
we
you've worked
use these
on.
things called cords to hook up the computers. And
my system is better than any of those you've messed with.
Cat 5. There's so much Cat 5. I've run all that. And I actually do have tons. I've never thrown away a cord or a cable. I have.
Hey, have you had yours since the 70s?
Well, no. Well, some of them, yes. Some of them I have had since the 70s.
You haven't had him since the 70s.
Some of them I have had since the 70s, but I also have never had. I also have never had anything that I'm not using break. That I haven't had. Where is that? I thought I had that. I thought I had that wall of stuff. I was going to put it up again, but I don't think I do have it here loaded anymore.
I'm going to have to take it apart because some of it needs to go.
Why?
Because some of it doesn't work. I've got two recorders.
What?
I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but DVD recorders, the doors, the little tray in them breaks so easily, it's ridiculous.
Wow, I've got mine here, and it's fine. I've had it.
Yeah, and yours is probably 3 days old.
No. My DVD recorder, my CD optical burner, all that stuff, I've had it for 20 years maybe. If rubbers break, you're still responsible, says Julian Zeezer. If you are just tuning in, and welcome to Cord. If you're just tuning in, welcome to Cord Wars. No, I have all that stuff. All my electronics work.
My Philips, my Logic, my Philips, and my, what the heck is this one? Light On. Those recorders are trashed, and my Memorex is trashed. So all those DVD recorders, the doors stop working in them.
Wow.
And that's the weakness of them. That's why people got rid of them.
I think you probably just manhandle your equipment too much.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm just so powerful that I can't even open and I can't automatically press a button that opens and closes the door.
All that weightlifting and stuff. You just
it's affected my button finger, so that when I press that automatic open, eject, and close, it's gets so much power going through that little button that
you're not ginger enough with it. Well, look at that stuff there. How could any of that stuff go wrong?
Everything works except two of them. And the VCRs I have had so many tapes run through them that they've just basically worn out. All the belts have worn.
Metal Main Vicky says, my cord's better than your cords. My cord's better than
yours. My cord's better than your cord.
You know, Wolf, I happen to know, having worked in broadcasting as long as I have, one of the best things for electronics is to stack them directly on top of each other. That doesn't build up heat or anything like that.
No, it doesn't.
One of the it almost insulates them from each other.
That's why they put legs on them so that there's gaps underneath each one of them, so the air goes in there.
Yeah,
that's why they put fans in all of them.
Giant gusts of air that can go through there. I mean, if you go right now to downtown there to the CBS radio building and go up into master control, you can see they've got those things just stacked right one on top of the other.
I'm sure they've got room for it.
They've got stacked right on top of the other. Let's see here, Tim. He's like Elvis watching multiple TVs. Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. And so there's a boom
I watched
box
two different movies and a race at the same time. Or sometimes two races at the same time.
And a movie. Sometimes three races.
I watched
other times three movies.
Football games.
Yep.
Later, I branched to using my computer and splitting the screen up into 6 games and watching them all at the same time.
Do you have one of those picture-in-picture TVs? I used to have one of those a long time ago.
That one that you can see has got a DVD player and stuff in it too, and I don't even remember where it is.
I don't know that my current one does picture in picture. I've never tried, but I used to like picture in picture a little bit because then you could watch a movie and your game could just be on and you could just kind of watch it.
I used to just obviously watching all these NFL games for free and whatever I was watching. I would just split up the screens and make 6 screens on there and shrink them and just have 3 at the top and 3 below that and watch all 6 of them at the same time.
I'm a little worried. Why don't you have anything on top of that turntable?
It has its own little deal. I also have, but there's two VCRs above it, though.
It seems like you could pack a few things on top of that. Julian Zitter
and
says,
my amp is sitting on top of my tape deck.
It says, my TV is so old it only serves as a monitor for my Apple TV box. Yeah. But, that's quite a setup there. I can't understand.
That 13-inch TV on top is the one I had at school.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, I gave mine, I think, to my sisters or something. I miss those little 13-inch TVs, and everybody, it was the same TV, but one would say Zenith, one would say RCA, one would say, TV Com. It was the same TV. They just branded it for all these different people. And you don't find that with... let's see here. Portable.
GE used to make really good electronic stuff.
Oh, God, they did.
Good TVs, good, answering machine. That answering machine that I had that was GE, I used that for, oh my gosh, almost there's 35 or 40 years.
There's no standard portable small over-the-air television now that it's digital. There's a whole bunch of different kinds, and some of them are pretty good. And of course, they're all kind of letterbox style now. They're not 3x4, but I really want one of those. And it kind of messes me up for a little because before everything went digital, you could buy these little, I think the screen was only like 3.5 inches. It was about this big, and it was a little TV that you tuned. It didn't have switch on it. You tuned it, and it had AM and FM radio and weather band on it. And it would take batteries, but you could plug it in. And it was before a lot of stuff was streaming, so you could just put that on your desk and then tune into ball games or whatever else you wanted. Those things were awesome. And if you went camping or something, you could those were great.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that had those. When I used to tailgate at Charger games, there were a lot of people that had those TVs.
Tim Jenkinson says, hopefully he doesn't live in an earthquake zone. Would you like to comment on that, Wolf?
I live in an earthquake zone.
Well, no. The fires
I
don't
live
reach
in the
it.
San Andreas Fault.
Yes. Julian Z says, haven't watched TV for many years, only YouTube or downloaded files. I pretty much just watch YouTube all the time now. That's all I watch. That's all I watch. Just nothing
Yeah,
but YouTube.
I have Locals and what's the other one? Rumble and YouTube, but I don't watch those other two.
Well, maybe someday. I watch nothing but YouTube pretty much. I'm just constantly watching YouTube. Oh, occasionally, lately I've been watching some of the worst Westerns of all time on Crackle and Pluto and Plex and stuff. But let's see, what do we got here?
I was watching some Peacock stuff yesterday, and then that I thought was on one of my other free deals, but one of those detective series. And then I don't know. I just need to get rid of some of this. Nobody cares about the stuff but me. I don't want my niece to have to mess with it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, I do. I started thinking about that the other day. I'm like, I should just jot down on a Post-it what I want done with all this because I started doing my runs and walks again this week. And I'm like, if I stroke out on a lonely piece of sidewalk, somebody in the world should know what needs to be done with all this.
I mean, it's having to clean out my mom's house. It was just too much. I mean,
Yeah.
Chief and I pulled 49 gallon trash bags of stuff to the dump. 49 bags that big. And I took 3. I'd rented an SUV, one of those big ones. I had it loaded so that only my seat that had any access with mom's clothes.
That is weird.
3 times I filled it up.
That's weird. I mean, I just mean it's weird that you counted the bags. Tim
Are
Jenkins,
you kidding?
Tim Jenkinson says,
First of all, I had to because we had to pay for the dump. So
Tim Jenkinson says, American TV is terrible. It's just commercials for drugs all the time. Well, Tim, if you find yourself irritable and impatient with American television drug commercials, you need to take Rexaflon.
I was going to recommend Pervitin.
Ask your doctor if Rexaflon is okay for you. Side effects are worse than the illness normally.
Oh, my God. Some of them cause the illness.
Yeah. Julie Z says, the meaning of life is set things up so if you die during exercise session, nobody else is inconvenienced. Exactly.
Well, I can tell you, having to take care of it, I wish that would have been done for me. And my back was so trashed when I got home, I had to go immediately to a chiropractor and have him screw with my lower back because I couldn't even move from moving all that crap.
Well, Flomax is another big one there, Tim Jenkinson. Here's the thing is if unless you're a billionaire, by the time that you're old and can't take care of yourself, you're probably not going to be in a private pay because private pay is just, you have to be just ungodly rich for private pay. So you're going to be on some government form of, aid. And when you do that, they make you get rid of all of your earthly property. So,
I mean, other than the albums and the DVDs or the CDs and that kind of crap.
Yeah, you'll get a little bit of personal things, but not very much. Metal Man Vicky says side effects such as oily discharge or even death. Oh, and don't take said medication if you are allergic to said medication. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, those with heart illness should not take the heart medication.
I've seen some that says that you're supposed to take for cancer that says that you have to be careful because it may cause cancer. I'm like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, what about this? What about the ones that you take, like if you take certain antibiotics, don't eat anything, take twice a day, don't eat anything 12 hours before you take it. Okay, starve. What you're saying is starve. And another one is like, don't go out into the sun.
Yeah.
In Dallas or San Diego, don't go out into the sun.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Melmaine Vicky says that she's heard that it's being worked on to remove all those medical commercials on TV. We shall see. Well, you're not going to get around it because the population base keeps getting older and older and older.
Everything? Pharmaceuticals? Are you kidding? They're not going to get rid of it.
Well, and it's advertising. It's free speech. There's no law against it. And as the population base gets older and older and older,
yeah,
that's, what do you expect?
And it's online too. Don't kid yourself.
Oh,
it's
no,
all
it
over.
definitely.
It's all over the internet.
Definitely
everywhere.
Online. Although
you can't get away from it.
I've noticed not only on YouTube but also on all the free, Tubi and all that that I watch.
You betcha.
They've also though gotten real good at hyper localizing the ads. Like now, instead of getting an ad for Ford Motor Company, I get the local Ford dealer with.
Yeah.
The guy, I'm the owner of this business and I want your business. And it's like, dude, hire a professional to do that.
Well, that's why I was trying to say to Coat that I go through Firefox or somebody like that, because it comes to a point where you can do all these add-ons, and it's instead of going to the Tubi site, it'll say, do you want to go off-site and blah, blah, blah. When you're in mobile, and all you have to do when it says that is cancel it, and then instead of being mobile, you put TV instead, and then you can watch TV without any commercials.
I like the fact that I can go to either Roku or my Google Chromecast and search for something, and it tells me where it is. I don't have to search it out, but I also don't mind the commercials. They don't bother me a bit. I need a little break here now and then. Maybe I might have to go tinkle, Kim. I just might have to tinkle. We might
you just get the traveler's friend, and that takes care of that.
Yeah, just sit there and catheterize myself in my own bed. Yeah,
got my own little friend with me.
I think we might be the only country that has TV commercials like that. We might be. Some of those ads can be up to 2 minutes long, just folks dancing around talking about their beds. Yeah, I like how they. It's like most of the commercials them telling me how bad I feel. I can't, or singing about their meds. Yeah, there's that diabetic commercial that has got a big heavy girl singing about what she's taking for her meds and
for the sugar
music.
What's she using for the sugar?
Big music production for her diabetes. YouTube mainly has bad AI ads now.
Well, Clara's just got to be careful about that, having that syrup when she gets mixed fruit, because she's got the sugar.
J.G. Wentworth used to have the best songs. I have a structured settlement and I need cash now.
Oh.
Call A.G. Wentworth. And who can forget 588-2300?
I can't.
Yeah, that's the song. I think it's Jardians. Yeah, I think it is Jardians with the
Get Roto-Rooter right away.
Yeah.
And away goes trouble
down the drain. Roto-Rooter. Roto-Rooter. Yeah, there's a lot of good.
I used to do their glass, and I would laugh every time. And what's so funny? And I said nothing.
I hate the ones where the people are singing about that colon cancer thing where you crap
good
where you
Lord.
crap in a box or something, and they're singing about it, and it's like you can sing about it all you want. I'm still crapping in a piece of cardboard. I'm not Empire today. That's right, Empire.
No, you don't
today.
do that for the new test. You have a swab.
Yeah, I
It's
don't even want to
disgusting,
think about
Phil.
it. Yeah,
It's
it really
disgusting.
is. Yeah, swab my own. I see. They're lucky I don't work on those accounts. They just put a stick up your ass.
My doctor said,
Have you had a colonoscopy? And I said,
yes, and I never want to get close to one ever again.
Yes, Color Guard is the one, Metal Maiden Vicky, that we're talking about. For a while, the box full of crap walked around like an animated character. Hi, waving at you like poop in a
He said,
box.
well, would you? This is a real easy one to do. And I said, okay, I've been scanned. I don't have anything wrong there. We know where it is, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Metal Man, poop in a box and mail it on out to someone. Nope. Yeah, I can't. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's a swab, and it's a little tiny pack that you basically put a label on, and it looks like a matchbox.
Friday night here at the Tom Gulley Show, we're having quite a
We're
party.
talking about poop.
We're talking about things you can do to test your colorectal cancer with human stool. Metal Maiden Vicky says, yeah, like the hamburger helper hand character just walking around. Yeah, it's just exactly like the hamburger helper helping hand, only it's a box with
Lord,
your
that
own
reminds-
feces in it going, "Eh."
That's as bad as my. I wish you could hear Chuck tell this. It's the funniest thing. I laughed so hard I thought they were going to have to take me to emergency. These kids on the airplane, one of them was plugged, and they'd been giving him, laxatives for like 3 or 4 days, and nothing happened until they got on the plane.
Oh, boy.
And when he went to the bathroom finally, the sound of the toilet flushing scared him to death, so he wouldn't get on it. He thought he was going to be sucked out of the plane. And just at that moment, everything loosened up
Oh, boy.
and went everywhere. And while they're trying to deal with that, his other son is running up and down the aisle going poop, 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 poop.
Oh, boy. Yeah. It's like,
It's chasing him, trying to catch him while he's running up and down to the plane going poop, 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 poop.
I remember I used to have to fly down to Orlando once in a while from Indy, and it's almost always just a giant tourist flight. Because the only reason people are going down there is to go to Universal and Disney and all that other stuff. And so there's tons of kids, and every time I took that flight, I just wanted to.
All, of course, perfectly behaved children.
Yes, I would always just turn and look at the people next to me, and we're so sorry. It's like, okay, yeah,
We get control of your kids.
We certainly can't make up. We certainly can't make up from the complete lack of parenting skills through their entire life in this 2-hour flight, but 3-hour flight. Boy, I'd like to. Metal Man Vicky says, yeah, the singing in the Color Guard commercials is super annoying too. Yeah, it was like they're trying to make them real people singing, so that they were bad at singing and stuff, and it just awful. Like the actors that sing the Pepto-Bismol song with hand gestures. Yeah, what was that?
The Depends commercial is fabulous too, where they're on the golf course talking about how relaxed and how comfortable they are.
Yeah.
With their male diapers.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my Lord, are you kidding me?
When you have
There ain't
nausea,
nothing
heartburn, indigestion,
comfortable about
upset
those
stomach.
diapers.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea, use Pepto. And they use all the hand gestures and stuff. And the body movements, yeah. Julian says not every actor can be Scarlett Johansson. Some of them have to be in Pepto-Bismol commercials. Well, then that's the thing, though, Julian. you can get a gorgeous, wonderful actor or actress for those. It's the people who write and the people who approve the commercials that make them so stupid. Got to start somewhere. Yeah, I don't count it against those people. They're just looking for a paycheck. I've been in the rooms, believe me, with some of the dunderheadedest clients for large companies that go, I think it'd be a good idea if we did this. And you're like, I think that's a terrible idea.
I used to train the guy that was in the Mobile One commercials as the engineer, the thin nose, gray hair. He was the lead in the first horror movie, The Mirror, that they remade like 6 times now.
Willie's Pub says, I'm glad to see somebody else's channel gets less views than me. Well, I don't know that we know that, Willie's Pub. Let me just see if I can find Willie's Pub's. Well, no, I'll find it. I'll go ahead and find it. Let's just see if that's true, Willie's Pub, Mr. Smarty.
He's got a Santa Claus beard.
Yeah. Good Lord, if we get...
Howdy, Santa Claus.
We get less than him. This is our last show. Let's just see Willie's Pub. Great name, by the way. That's a great name, Willie's Pub.
Like thumbs up at Cow and Ale.
Look at that guy. You can tell he's got personality. He's bursting with
personality. Charm.
Personality. That's a fella who's got personality. Just bursting. Willie's Pub. Let's check it out, shall we? Right here on YouTube. Whoa, 255 subscribers. Dude, are you slow in the noggin?
Tom's got over 1,000.
Yeah. He streamed one called When the YouTuber Rides Away. It's an hour long, 155 views. Wow. But most of these I'm looking at are 6 views 5 minutes ago. 23 views 37 minutes ago. Why are you posting videos of 2 and 6 minutes 1 day ago, having some fun for the wife, and it looks like one of those claw things at the lucky woman she is. Was that Welcome Back at the Beach? That's a day ago, 52 views. If you're afraid of the dark, stay home, 48 views, 13 times. Well, let me just see here. More about this channel. You have a total lifetime since 2018 of 841 views, Willie's Pub. Would you like me to tell you? Would you like me to tell you what my stats are?
That's almost what I've got, and I don't even have any content on my channel.
I think I've got 61,000 views or something like that. Willie's Pub. Well, Willie, you're quite a character, Willie. I bet you when you show up, people will go, what a wiseacre that Willie is. Smokane from New Zealand says, hello, Tom. Hey, Smokane, do you know of a honey out there in New Zealand called Mokumama or something like that? Just asking for a friend. Metalman Vicky says, look at all the actors that started as in commercials. So many. Yeah, you can get great talent for commercials. Quality over quantity, Willies. Yeah, Willie. I always come by and give you a thumbs up either way. Well, you don't have to feel like obligated to do that because I was just at your site and I didn't do anything. My main channel got taken down. I have to restart. Well, how in the high holy hell could your channel get taken down? What could you have possibly done with the videos that I saw? I mean, how to give the wife a good time with one of those claw machines. Yes, if it got graphic enough, your site could be taken down. But I went through 7 channel side. I don't even know what that means. Julian Caesar says, if you got bad news and you want to kick the blues, Smokane. There you go. Tim Jenkinson says, that's pretty funny, Julie. Tim Jenkinson says, at least you don't have to shut the channel down. Yeah, I may be terrible, but they've never taken me down, Willie. Willie's Pub, where it's always ladies' night. I'm just messing with you, Willie. I wish you nothing but the best of success. Manukua honey, I'm guessing. That might be it. It's expensive. Yeah, but doesn't it have some extra properties or some of something? Let's see. Let's see here. Doesn't it have
It
some?
has 130 trace elements and minerals.
Well, it had Manuka honey. It's a monofloral honey produced from the nectar of the Manuka tree. Well, anyway, it's better than the honey. It's better than the crappy honey that we have over here.
You mean the stuff from Canada?
The stuff that comes in a bottle that's the shape of a bear.
honey bee honey.
Yeah, at least they say it's good for the health. Well, good. Willie, I'm sorry if I drove you away, Willie. You're a good fella, and I'm sure your previous channel was bursting with viewership and quality content.
And bursting with love.
You just gotta. You came right in here hot and said, "I'm glad to see somebody else's channel gets less views than me." Less views than me, you said. Please stop it.
He's happy, he's peppy, he's bursting with love.
It's probably cheaper to buy peptides. I like me a good peanut butter and honey sandwich. The only problem is I get the honey in the shape of the bear, and I make one sandwich, maybe two, and then it is horrifyingly stopped up like a brick, and I'll never get another drop out of it. It's just a chunk of honey. It's a giant, just like a fly in amber chunk of. I think I was rude to Willie.
Have you done a show on honey?
No. Should I?
There it is.
Yeah, it's just there for me. Right now I got Land of the Giants. I got Ritz Crackers, McHale's Navy.
You can't pass that up, boy.
Pentagon Papers, Polybius, and then Robert McNamara. Gummy bears. Yeah, gummy bear. I like when you get a gummy bear and you pull one out and 9,000 of them are stuck together. Tim says, no, he was rude to you. I think he was just trying to give me a good-natured ribbing. That's all.
He wanted you to turn into the angry giant.
Smoking said, you don't want that bear to be bricked up. Well, yeah, because then he won't be able to do what he does in the woods. Tim Jenkinson says, have you done a show on cords or sticks up the... No, I haven't. Well, I think every show is that, if you consider who I am. Willie was just making conversation, said Julian. Well, let's just review Willie's interaction here, because I thought he came in a little hot. We were just having a good time here, and first he says, no, that's not the first thing he said. He said this first. I'm glad to see somebody else's channel gets less views than me. Now, I did put the heart at the end of it, but that could have been a very sarcastic heart.
Yeah, he was just being... Oh, that was a joke, Tom. Now you need to feel guilty.
No, I've got the link up. Willie could have popped in on the show anytime he wanted to. He could be on here with us right this minute. I always come by and give you a thumbs up either way. And I don't know Willie. I've never spoken to Willie. I have no proof that he's been thumbing me up. My main channel got taken down. I went through 7 channels. I don't know what that is. I really don't.
Maybe he's saying he's had 7 different channels or something.
I don't know, but I think it was just a misunderstanding. I really do. It was a misunderstanding. But I also think it's Friday night. I'm hungry. I got to get out of here. I got to get up early in the morning.
Yeah, you turned into the angry giant.
I'm not angry.
Yes, you are.
I resent that characterization. No, if you saw me angry,
the angry giant.
If he's been banned 7 times, he should probably rethink his content, says Tim. Yeah, maybe.
No kidding.
I've never been banned. And also, hey, Wolf, if I was really angry, as you know, as you know, I never curse in real life, but if I was really angry,
No, absolutely not. Never heard you say one word.
then I would probably
Not one swear word ever.
I might
Salt of the earth, while the boys are saint.
I might let a darn or a shoot out,
Oh, heck, or gosh darn,
shucky darn it.
darn it.
He will be extra angry at Walmart if he doesn't sleep. I will not. Once I get there, I don't actually have to buy that. I mean, it's getting hot here. I think I'm just going to get a bunch of stuff for salad for the week and some more sodies, and then I won't hardly get anything.
Sody pop. Do they get it? Do they get angry with you for saying sody?
No, well, who do I have to say it to? I do all the work. I go get all the stuff and I check it out. There's no Wolf. Julian Caesar says, "Wolf, do you ever blink?" Not in his pictures. Can we get a live?
Why do you think they call me the wolf?
Yeah. Can we?
Because I don't blink.
Can we get a live stream from Walmart? Do they allow you to stream from the inside of Walmart, Wolf?
They'll probably hassle you.
Well, that'd be a.
Which would be all the better.
It would be great for me to. I could do it right after I was done, going out to the parking lot or whatever. But.
That would be good content.
When I was on Bamboozer, I used to do live streams of me walking places and doing stuff all the time. You know what? I've got like 6 gigs worth of Bamboozer shows that I really ought to open up and start showing on the weekends. He doesn't have to blink. He's watching 6 TVs at the same time.
I've trained my eyes.
You're like one of those chameleons, those lizards that can move both eyes independently of each other.
Gecko? Or no, not the gecko. Yeah, maybe it is a gecko.
It's a chameleon or a gecko of some kind.
It's a gecko.
Metal Main Vicky says, "I'm pretty sure you can. I currently follow this guy who goes to Walmart, Food Lion, etc., and films live. He's hilarious." It just seems like
you should be able to, but some stores will put up with it, some won't. I used to find that out comp shopping, which apparently no Walmart store does anymore.
They should pay me to do it, but I mostly go there for the dirty looks of the 6 a.m. restocking staff when I go by. They don't say anything. They just give me this look, except this one real friendly guy. "How you doing this morning, sir?" "I'm doing great. How are you?" "Well, if you don't see it, we don't have it. You can't buy it." I said, and I always go, "Well, that's a deal. You don't have it here, I refuse to buy it." Metal Man Vicky says he's on TikTok, but I watch him on Facebook Reels. I do not have a TikTok account. Metal Man Vicky disavowing herself of TikTok for the record.
Not a chance I'm ever getting TikTok or anything on it.
Why not?
Why, it's you know why.
It's a Chinese.
It's him Chinese.
I watched I watched the pilot of Kung Fu again this week. And when that part came up, he looked like he got a little Chinese in him. I was just like, that sounds so evil. And I'm sure it is politically incorrect, but it just sounds dirty and bad. And it just, Julian Zeter says, "I'm TikTokless too." Metal Man Vicky's laughing, "but I am a victim of doom scrolling." Well, I want any of that. Well,
if I'm awake, I'll go in and I'll check out Metal tomorrow.
Yeah, me too. I feel bad because I should really be watching her whole show every week.
That's right. You're supposed to be supporting Metal.
I know.
How could you, Tom? How could you?
Once I get through the
week.
You
no good cat.
I get up, I go to the grocery, I got to put all the groceries away, I got to take out the trash, clean up the house, and then I call my dad for an hour And then I eat some of the good stuff that I bought at the Walmart and immediately go into a food coma. And I fall asleep, and then normally toward the end of her show, I wake up. And the last couple of times, I think I have come in toward the end of the show.
Yeah, you were. I think I was asleep last weekend.
Uh-oh.
I've been sleeping a lot, but normally I try to go in there and cause trouble.
Mental Maiden Vicky says, well, changes are happening with that. I have to send you a message, Tom. Well, you just keep us apprised, and please feel free to send me a message and just let me know just about the time I got it ingrained in my head, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturdays Eastern Time. You know, now you'll switch it up, and I'll mess it up for a long time. But
I won't even be able to find it and go in and cause problems.
I don't think you cause problems.
With my suspicious behavior.
I don't think you cause problems. I admire how you know some of the people in the bands that I don't.
Very few.
I'm really good at pretending like I do, though. Oh, yeah, he's awesome. Anyway, I don't know whether it's a drummer, a bassist, or a guitarist, or a singer, and I just go, oh, yeah, he's awesome. I like that. I like that song they do about loving that woman.
Which every band does.
Suspicious Mind. And if I'm in a real good mood, I'll say loving that woman all night long. Metal Maid Vicky says Suspicious Minds. Actually, I stole that from Monk.
I didn't.
We can go on together with suspicious minds. Does this mean Metal Maid Vicky is going to go from metal euphoria to a show totally about Elvis? Just Elvis Presley music for 5 hours every? Hey, I put a special ticker at the bottom for you, Wolf.
You did? Oh, yeah, I know. I was going to say something, I thought I'll just let it go. A proud Ball State graduate that suspiciously makes fudge.
Are we talking about the Color Guard commercial again?
What's that?
Right.
Well, I did actually make fudge, but...
Okay. By the way, I want to thank Julian Zezer for being the only contributor tonight with gifting that one membership that apparently was received by someone that never, ever comes into this chat room or watches the show.
Well, that's the best one.
This is all just working out so well for me, this show. I'm clearly on the path of just quitting my everyday job.
You're on the path of greatness.
Quitting my everyday job and doing this all the time. Man, I'm this close.
Alexander the Great, move over. Here comes Tom Gulley.
Yeah. Let's see. No major changes from George, Paul, and myself. Oh, George was talking about Tubbies when I was on the phone with him yesterday. Yeah, he said that he was telling me some stuff about Tubbies too. And he sent me a picture of a sandwich, which I really should have put on the show. But it didn't look as delicious and flavorful as the ones that I was used to. So, but yeah, what is it? He gosh dog it. Now I got to go check and see what it was. It was
a sandwich?
Oh man, you haven't lived until you've had those sandwiches.
A delicious looking sandwich.
Seriously, Wolf, Tubby's makes the best sandwiches in the Detroit area. They're like a sandwich shop.
No, they don't.
Oh,
I
really
have always made the best sandwiches. Okay. Always. You name one place that makes a sandwich where the entire bread is completely covered and evenly covered.
Tubby's.
No. That's not the answer.
The Wolf's House.
Exactly.
Oh, that's the place. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me see here.
It freaks people out when they watch me make a sandwich because they can't believe how perfectly everything is covered.
Okay, so
who
this
wants
is
to bite into part of a sandwich and not have stuff on it.
Here's the thing. Well, George Neal emailed me this on, didn't email, it's a Facebook messaged me this. Funny story. Every time I go to Tubby's with friends, I hold up my sub and toast you and say, to Tom Gulley. My friends think I've lost my mind and they toast you too. And they toast you too. People that may not know you sometimes toast you before I do. You are becoming a Detroit legend. Oh,
I wonder if that
Tubby's.
place even existed when I was going to Detroit.
Oh, let me see here. Tubby's.
Probably not.
Detroit. How long in business? Long time, I bet you. The first Tubby's sub shop was founded in 1968 by a guy that was 21 years old. What do you know? For over 55 years, Tubby's has been known for its grilled steak and cheese subs, along with other deli-style items.
Well, see, we never stopped to get anything to eat. We always went basically straight to the theater, the downtown theater, where we would watch kung fu movies all day.
Well, other people stop and eat. That's what it's for.
Well, what has that got to do with me?
Well, that's my point exactly.
I loaded up with push-ups, and that's all I needed.
Steak and cheese, mushroom steak and cheese, pizza steak and cheese, pepper steak and cheese. I'm looking at these sandwiches now. I want to chew my arm off. Philly steak and cheese, loaded steak, cheeseburger Italiano, pizza burger, taco sub, grilled chicken, chicken and cheddar, chicken and broccoli, chicken fajita, chicken club, chicken crispy sub, chicken parm, Tubby's famous, classic Italian, ham and cheese, turkey club, Italian pepper relish. God, these sandwiches, BLT, tuna, French fries, seasoned fries, cottage fries, onion rings, chicken nuggets, breaded mushrooms. Oh, God. Spicy
I
cheese
have to
curds.
look it up and see where they are, because I don't even remember hearing about a place like that.
Oh, there's tons of them. Oh, Wolf, there's tons of them. They're all over the place. They're all over the place.
But there would have been one when I was going to Detroit.
Oh, no, one. When are
You
you
just said
talking
they
about?
opened in 68. How many opened in 68?
Well, the one.
I believe I just said one.
You only went to Detroit in 1968.
How many would they have had in 72 in the early 70s and mid 70s?
1975, it says here they had 40 locations. No, I just made that up.
Never heard of them.
They got one in Beverly Hills, Michigan, Chesterfield, Clawson, Clinton Township, 2 and 3 in Clinton Township, Dearborn Heights.
No, my cousin lived in Southfield, not Chesterfield.
Detroit, Dundee, Fraser, Hazel Park, Holly. Let's see if I can find Southfield. I bet you there's one in Southfield. I bet your ass there's one in Southfield. Oh, there's 2 in Royal Oak, which might as well be Southfield. There's one in Southfield.
My relatives cooked probably better than any of them, since they were all trying to start restaurants, so they never ate at places like that.
You refuse to want anything good. You just I could tell you that the greatest thing in the world, you eat it.
Are you making a joke?
And you would just say,
I, who goes to the gas lamp and tells them exactly what's in their food, and they have to give me free meals.
You could go to the greatest restaurant in the world. I could say, there's a place that's really good. You can go here. It sucks. Julia Zeus, wait, what do we got here?
Did I say it sucks, or did I say I make better sandwiches?
That's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Is Tubby's a Michigan place? Just a Michigan place? Yes, it's a Detroit area place. Beverly Hills, Michigan, that's where my maternal grandparents live, off 14 Mile. Yes, also known as Birmingham, Michigan.
Hey, I don't think you were in Metal's room then, but I sent her a picture of one of my favorite restaurants to eat at in L.A. and that's Ye Old King's Head English pub. I go there every time I'm in LA.
When was the last time you were
fish and
there?
Chips. Oh, good Lord, who knows?
It's out of business now.
No, it isn't, because Dope just sent me a picture and just sent me pictures of him eating there. So how is it out of business?
It went out right after he was there. They
So
said,
like
forget
2
it.
weeks ago, it went out of business.
Exactly. It says it's closed right now.
Every comedian and movie star and whatever eats there, but it's out of business now.
Yeah. It says people don't like this anymore. It says it right
People
here.
don't want the best fish and chips they could possibly get at least in the States. No, you're probably right. Right at the end of
history. Established
Santa
in
Monica and Ocean.
Established in 1974, known for the 17th best fish and chips in the United States, the Old King's Head British Pub Restaurant and Gift Shop. Oh, it's got a gift shop. Well, I get it.
Yeah.
It's like Cracker Barrel. I understand now.
Yeah, it's like Cracker Barrel, right?
It's like
all the movie people and all the comedians eat at Cracker Barrel. Gotcha. No, you're perfectly. Their
Yes.
menus in English, actual English menu, where they have to explain in American English that no, it does not mean this, it means this.
All of the restaurants I go to are in English.
English or colloquial English?
Well, there's just one English.
No, there isn't.
Yeah, there's just the English language. Certain words may mean certain things to different people, but it's just the one
If there
language.
was only one English language, you wouldn't have several different English dictionaries. One for England and one for the U.S.
No, there's just one. There's the Oxford Unabridged Dictionary of the English Language, the ODL.
No.
It's got all the usages. It's got all the colloquialisms. Everything's in it.
Right,
Everything.
no.
It costs like $4,000. It's two different giant volumes.
Wrong.
Comes with a magnifying glass.
Wrong, Jesse.
Let's see. Metal Main Vicky. Yes, I remember you posting that picture because of the fish and chips. Diana O'Brien makes better fish and chips than them.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Unabridged Dictionary of the. Let me see how much that high-end Oxford dictionary is these days. The most expensive one. Well, there's one right there. It's 20 volume set for $13.66. The most expensive one. Oh, that's not the most expensive. One of the guys that owned an ad agency had these two, big wooden stands that they sat on, and it came with a.
They had one at
magnifying glass.
at Bracken. They had one at Bracken that was pretty massive.
Yeah, but all the words are in there. It's not like there's a separate one. It's just
there actually is a separate one. Yeah,
all the words are in there.
Yeah, there's two different ones.
Known for its comprehensive coverage and historical
Gotcha.
focus.
Absolutely correct. There's two different ones. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. One of us has made his living as a writer.
One for England.
Years.
Well, that's great. I've been published too. There's two different ones. One for England and one for the U.S.
Now you're going to try to equate my level of writing with yours. That's just don't do that, please. Fish and chip shops. What are you actually getting? It's like
which novel did you get published?
Fish and chip shops. Anybody can publish a novel. You can publish one on Amazon
why don't
today.
you have one published?
Because I don't really feel like that's a viable use of my time.
No, I don't feel like I want one of those.
I would prefer to
I
write.
would have one.
I would prefer
I would
to
have
write
a 20,000 word novel published.
I would prefer to write extensively for the largest magazines and publications in the world.
Well, good for you. Not everybody wants to write for the magazine.
Shops. What are you actually getting? It's like going to a restaurant where they sell you meat. What kind of fish? I think fish and chip shops are pretty awesome, really, sometimes. But
Who? Wait a minute. Who said what about fish and
Julian
chips?
is at fish and chip shops. What are you actually getting? Like going to a restaurant where they sell you meat. What kind of fish? Well, it depends on the fish and chip shop.
Well, generally, it's for them. It's a giant piece of cod, although it's usually 3 giant pieces of cod.
Tom, message sent. Check after show and stuff. Yes, I've earned a mighty fine living over the years through my
Is
writing
that stuff
abilities.
you get inside Dunkin' Donuts? The stuff you get in Pepsi, or is that
What now? I don't know what you're talking about.
the stuff? What kind of stuff is it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're looking at the comment in front of you from Metal. It says stuff at the end.
Well, that's private stuff. I don't know why Dunkin' Donuts is part of it.
Well, because Dunkin' Donuts has stuff in it.
I wasn't aware of that either.
It's a commercial, Tom. You should know it by heart.
Let's see
It
here.
talks
Hold on.
about different kinds of stuff, and it's a kid doing it.
Well, Jeepers Creepers. Let's see here. Well, Metal Maiden Vicky, I see what you sent me, and I am acknowledging it right now.
Boston cream Dunkin' Donuts.
I don't know anything about, stuff as far as Dunkin' Donuts is concerned.
Anything that's got cream cheese, I'm in.
Let's see here. I'm sorry. I was just looking at this giant volume of FBI shows that I was extensively quoted in by Ed Robertson. Sorry. Message sent. Tell you what. Well, Middleman Vicky, I don't know if you want me to say anything about this or not at this juncture, but maybe at some point you need to come on round here yonder and we can have you on the show and talk about it. But that's the very earth-shattering news, and that's not fun and things. And so, yes. No, not yet. Okay, well then I'll keep it under my hat. Yes, just more inside information that only I get as a professional journalist and writer for some 40 years.
The older we get, the better we were.
No?
Yeah.
No.
Pretty much.
I don't think that's true.
Uh-huh.
No, mum's the word, Metal Main V. Mum's the word. The older we get, the better we. That's good old days syndrome.
Yeah.
The facts are the facts. I don't go
The
by
facts
that.
are the better we were as we get older.
That's a distortion of reality. You don't get better back in the past. You were as good as you were in the past. It doesn't change when you get older.
Yeah, you go ahead and go with that.
I'm gonna, because that's the truth.
No, it isn't.
There may be some people who have good old days syndrome and want to puff up their past accomplishments.
I
but
remember back in the days of the Greeks and the Romans,
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying it's not true.
every day.
Were you about to sing Buddy Holly?
That wasn't Buddy Holly.
Well, I'm not. That's why I'm asking, because I couldn't tell.
Yeah, you could.
No, I couldn't. That's the only everyday song that comes to mind right off the bat.
Dave Matthews.
Oh, well, excuse me for not being a Dave Matthews fan. I can tell
Oh,
you
well, now look
one Dave Matthews
that's it.
song.
That's enough. That's enough out of you.
I don't know, but one Dave Matthews song, whichever one was the popular one.
Oh, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 complete albums, I guess. This work.
Not a Dave Matthews.
Well,
Sorry. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people like him. If you like him, go ahead and like him. But I don't know nothing about him. It was the same time as Hootie
I
and
don't
the
know nothing about him.
Hootie and the Blowfish was popular. So I was not paying
Well, they have 2 songs. Maybe,
close of attention. Dave Matthews, the part of that era in music when all the songs were just about stuff people did on. Well, I went to the store and I found a meat and I went to my car and I drove down the street and I saw my girl and I said hello. It's just a list of things you did in an afternoon.
Yeah, that doesn't match any Dave Matthews songs that I've listened to.
Let me just let's see here. Let's see. Let me see what were his big songs. Tell me, what would you say? Is that one of his songs?
What? Was that Buddy Holly?
What would you say? Dave Matthews.
Oh, I couldn't tell.
Let me see. Let me find his discography. Oh, God. Let's just see. I want the albums. I want the singles, compilation albums. Who cares? Nobody cares. All right. Too Much. There's a song called Too Much. I don't recognize it. So Much to Say. Crash Into Me. Don't Drink the Water. Stay. Wasting Time. I don't recognize any of these songs. Oh, Every Day. I do see that.
Are you the complete expert on all music? So what? You don't recognize them. So
well, if I was, I probably wouldn't pay so much attention to Dave Matthews. Let's see.
Right. Your list is just magnificent.
It is.
There's a lot of people on there that I don't like. Who cares?
What would you say? Let me see if that's the song. So let me see if it's the song I'm thinking about. But yeah, I'm not. Up and down the puppy's hair, fleas and ticks jump everywhere because of original sin. Down the hill fell Jack. Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, no, that doesn't match anything you said.
Those are some fine lyrics.
They're not bad.
Describing what happened that afternoon. Riveting. Just riveting.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely riveting.
Yes, it is.
I think one of my favorite, the most notable thing I think Dave Matthews ever did was they threw some frozen stool out of their tour bus and killed a guy when they were in Chicago one time. Remember that? Remember when that happened?
No,
it happened.
I don't.
Yeah, it did. It happened. It was quite a controversy.
Well, good for whatever. Who cares?
Yep. Well,
I like them. You don't like them? Tough luck. I don't care.
I know a lot of guys that have played a lot of shows without killing people with their frozen stool. The police
so now you're going to get on the Who for having people trampled for one of their concerts?
The police were. You can't blame the Who for some bad seating people.
Well,
the police were confused at first because they didn't know whether it was Frozen Stool or the latest Dave Matthews album. Let's see here. Blowfish and Chips are good. Metal Maiden Vicky, also not a Dave Matthews fan.
That means what to me?
That means that I'm right and she's right because,
That doesn't mean that you're right. It means you're both wrong.
We've got a power alliance of not liking Dave Matthews. Hootie is always whining about something. Darius Rucker's a country artist now. I don't know how that happened.
Hey, Tom, don't you dislike metal?
I never said that.
Oh, yes, you did.
Nope, never said that.
Oh, yes, you have.
I've
Anytime.
said I'm not the biggest fan of metal. That doesn't mean I dislike it.
Yeah,
if
that's
you were
not
a
what you
person,
said. Yeah, that's not what you said to me,
that's
so-
what I have always said.
No, that isn't what you have always said.
It is. I've
No,
always
I'm
said
afraid it's
there's
not.
certain kinds of metal I really like. I love Steve Bellow. I love Lisa Hurt and the Consequences. There's certain metal I really like, but some of it, not the biggest fan of. Julian Caesar says Dave Matthews wanted to be the jam band that replaced the Dead, but didn't have the same work ethic. Ooh, hey now.
Can't stand the Dead. Hate them.
I'm indifferent on the Dead. Just indifferent. I don't have the hatred in my heart that you do.
Well, what do you want? I'm a wolf.
I know plenty of wolves that have come to the aid of humans. Did you not read White Fang?
No, I'm the wolf, but I've never read White Fang.
There's bands that I may have said I hated, but I don't hate any, kind of specific music, because you can always find something good. But Winger, no, there's nothing good about Winger, and I hate them. Tom prefers speed.
Wait, I thought you said you didn't have the same hate in your heart that I do. Now you said you hate something. You're inconsistent. We can't trust anything that you say.
That's not the same hatred. It's just hatred.
We can't trust anything that you say now.
It's a different hatred. Tom prefers speed metal and industrial. Metal says she's seen the Dead twice. Both times were interesting.
Interesting.
Julian Caesar says Tom likes baby metal. I don't know what baby metal is. I don't know what that is. But Steve Bellow, Lisa Hurt,
playing acid rock.
I don't know what baby metal is. I'm sure Metal Maiden Vicky will tell us. But as only she can. Oh, it's a band. Baby metal is a band. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Hot dang you all. I didn't know that. Shoot. Well, anyway, we got to end this. It's gone on too long to begin with. And
3 hours is too long?
Oh, 5 minutes is too long. Jesus Christ. Everybody got out on this show. They've been watching Willie's Pub for the last half hour.
You sent them there.
They went to that great content over at Willie's Pub with the picture.
They went to see Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm. Willie's Pub is where the action's at. Baby Metal's a band, says Metal Main V. Said they actually have worked with Rob Halford from Judas Priest before. Well, who doesn't know that Rob Halford's with Judas Priest? I don't know any of that. I don't know who's in Black Sabbath or Iron Maiden. They're all the same band to me, as far as I don't know the history. I don't know the people in them. There's a Lars in one of those bands. I know that. But, Metal Main Vicky says she has a bunch of their music, but I really don't know their music. With almost 5 terabytes of music, it's hard to listen to everything. Yes, it is.
That's a lot of music.
That is a lot of
information. That is just a terabyte alone.
That's
Good
a lot.
Lord.
That's a lot of anything.
70 million albums.
That's a lot of anything is what that is. And that's not just MP3s. That's actual AIFF full files of CD quality stuff. So anyway, all right, Wolf.
I got a lot of tapes, and they don't even come close to 5 terabytes. Oh my God! You couldn't get a group of people to be able to listen to all that.
It would take a minute to listen to that.
And you get like 20 people and they grow old. Start out at 5 years old and end up 90 and be through like 1 or 2 terabytes.
She says that's over 10 years of gathering music. Do you have any gas chamber, Metal Man Biggie? Let's see here. I wonder how long, because if you had, like when I have my, and I took almost all of it. I had to take it off my computer. But I had almost my whole music collection on my computer at one point in MP3 form. And it told me how long it would take to play all the songs in there. I wonder how much I mean, if you started right now and just hit play and made it go through everything, I wonder how long that would be.
Lord, years.
Yeah. Metal Maiden Vicky, there's a funny vid on YouTube of Metallica in 1985. Someone reaches up and steals Kirk's guitar while he's soloing. It's a 2-second video. A large balloon ball hits Lars. Okay. Oh, my God. I've got a really good clip of Johnny Rotten talking to the crowd that actually they're all spitting on the band. And if you don't quit your spitting, I'll walk off this blanking stage. Dogs.
All I have is Grand Funk asking for people to back up because they were going to stop the show if they did, because they were trying to get on stage, and you hear brothers and sisters out there in the front row, we got the word from the man that y'all going to have to move back now. Come on, everybody, move back now. We want to play. We want to play.
If you don't quit your spitting, I'll walk off this blanking stage. Dogs. Dogs. He should have said, baby. You big baby. You baby. Anyway. All right, Wolf. Well, you have a good evening and a good weekend and all that good stuff.
Hey, you too. And don't be the angry guy tomorrow. The angry guy.
I am never angry at Walmart. Ever. Ever. I'm not angry anywhere in public or online.
What about the ice cream man and the race car driver?
That's being annoyed. That's not angry. If I was angry, I'd smash all of his windows up with a bat.
It's crossed your mind.
I would smash all of his windows out with one of those little aluminum Little League bats. Anyway,
I prefer the lead pipe.
let's see here. All right, hold
Very
on.
effective. Not that I would know.
Have you seen the video of Iron Maiden performing Wasted Years? They were told to lip sync and unplug their instruments and play to the tape, so they all kept swapping positions on stage. So funny. No, but if there's I think there's a Public Image Limited, or it might be a Pistols, but I think it's Public Image Limited, where Johnny Rotten and the band, they start to do the lip sync thing, and they completely don't do it. They just start walking around and stuff. And Dick Clark is so freaked out. He's like, John, are you okay, John? It's pretty fun. Haven't seen that. Bruce goes to the drums, Nico on the mic, etc. Hilarious. Anyway, all right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, have a good weekend.
You do the same. That, of course, is the Wolf. By the way, he's wrong about everything that he disagrees with me on. Just so you guys know. Now that he's gone and won't get mad at us all. He calls me angry, but he just bullies me like crazy. It's awful. I'm kidding. He's still in the room here. Can you hear what I'm saying? Kind of like when Jim Morrison did not change the lyrics to Light My Fire on the Ed Sullivan Show. Yeah, we did the Ed Sullivan Show. So Ed says, we never do play the Ed Sullivan Show again. And Jim says, we did the Ed Sullivan Show. I love that. Okay, kids, thanks a lot for being here. We're still not getting any people watching. We're still not making a dime. But you people are awesome. That much is true, right? And with all that being said, I'm looking at that old clock on the wall. It says, like the Reverend Al Green, it's time for me to get up on out of here. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. With all that being said, I think the only thing left to say, if I can reset the video, is till next time. We'll see you next time.
1, 2, 3, 4. They call me Mr. Gulley. I've got something for your ear. Now it might sound kind of funny, but I'll make it very clear. So what we talking about? We're talking